Hello and welcome to SkepTalk. I don't know if we're on or not. It was faded for a minute, but hi! Welcome to SkepTalk. I'm your host, Forrest Valkai. I'm joined today, once again, by Hazel Thayer. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm trying to figure out how to yeah, for sure. Sick bolo tie, bro.
Yeah, we're wearing bolo ties today, everybody. This show has become the bolo tie show. We're semi-formal, half-casual Western wear today on the line. So if you have a bolo tie at home, go grab it. And whether you have a collar or not, it's completely irrelevant. Go grab a bolo tie, pop that sucker on, and look as good as us. If you can, try to look as good as us. It's going to be a great show tonight. Because Hazel, you and I always talk about some incredibly cool shit. I'm genuinely excited to talk to you more, like we did last time, about climate, about economics, about just what's going on in the world today. And of course, the lines are always open. If you're a theist, if you're a creationist, if you're a gender critical person, if you're a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever other weird phobe is out there. What?
If you're a climate denier.
A climate denier,
Call
for
in.
sure. I didn't hear what you said. It's anybody. Like if you watch this show, you know what we're all about. And if you disagree with us on anything, now is your time to make your word known, to take the stage, to tell thousands of people what things you believe and why, and to have a discussion and a debate with two people who talk about this shit for a living. This is your only chance to do so. So you can continue arguing with nobody in the comment section, or you can actually give it a try. Let's see what happens today. We've been having weird luck on sparse luck on the shows with people actually voicing their opinions over call instead of in the live chat. We'll see what happens. Before we get there, really quickly, I just want to hear from you, Hazel. Like, we've only had you on once before, and I want to make sure everybody knows you. Would you mind giving a brief introduction about like yourself, your channels, like what you do and what you know?
Yeah, sure. I'm Hazel. I'm here to talk to you. Here to talk to you today about the Lord. He loves you. He wants to save you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Hazel. I talk about climate change and economics on the internet. And I'm mostly on TikTok and Instagram as @HazelIsOnline. And I also host the YouTube show Uneffing the Planet. Are we allowed to swear on here?
Yeah. Very yes.
No.
I hope
you can't fucking swear.
No. I host the YouTube show Unfucking the Planet.
Right on. So right now, there's a lot of good and bad climate news going on. What are some issues that you're having in your debates? Like, what are things that you're running into right now that are driving you up a wall?
Oh yeah, I love it. So recently there's been a whole end fossil fuels I guess campaign that's been the word lately, end fossil fuels, and everybody goes, yeah, but you're wearing polyester. I bet your hair dye is made from petrochemicals. It's not. I checked. But yeah, most of the things I own are made from petrochemicals, and believe it or not, it is okay to participate in society and still critique it. But furthermore, like that's what we're protesting against, is the fact that all of this stuff has been forced upon us and we have no choice but to use it or live in a cave and eat bugs, I guess, which I can't do because I'm vegetarian. Anyway, so that's sort of where we're at in the climate community right now. And we're also running up to COP28, which is the big climate conference. And it's being headed up by, wouldn't you know it, the president of an oil company. So
naturally,
as you do. But on the other hand, we are passing, like, there's lots of good stuff happening, particularly in California and the EU, of actually trying to phase out fossil fuels in a meaningful way, shockingly. So we're getting there. And I think we finally have the momentum we need to not just say, we got to fix climate change, but no, we need to phase out fossil fuels. So
right.
I think that's where I'm at. Does that about cover it?
No, that's fantastic. Because that really is like, that's the whole I forgot what the term is for that kind of argument strategy of like, you criticize society, yet you live in society. I am very smart. That kind of thing. Like it is unbelievably frustrating. I feel exactly so. Hearing that's still going on is no surprise, but also just hits me weirdly. But I'm thrilled to hear that there's actually actionable plans to move forward, because in my part of the world, like anytime I talk about climate change, I'm still getting hit with the whole thing of like, 20 years ago they were talking about the ozone layer, and then now we don't hear about the ozone anymore. Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because we fixed the problem, right? And it's like, they were all talking about how this was such a big deal, and now they don't talk about it anymore, as if that's an argument for this not being real.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. We fixed acid rain with cap and trade, guys. Come on. That's why we don't talk about it anymore, not just for some big conspiracy.
That's another one. Or the worst one is talking about climate change overall, and they're like, yeah, they've been bitching about this for 40 years now. We've been talking about this for so long, and nothing's happened. We keep talking about it, and it keeps getting worse. And you keep saying, well, you've been talking about it. And it's like, what? I dare you to name any other problem that you take more seriously if less people talked about it. Like, what is that?
This summer, I think, has killed that argument. I don't think you can say that anymore.
Right, for sure.
I mean, they do, but you shouldn't.
I love that meme where it's like it's right now it was 80 degrees the other day. I took my nieces to a pumpkin patch, and it was freaking 85 outside this weekend. And it's like it's 80 something degrees in the middle of October, and they're like, "Oh, this is like the hottest October I've ever been." And I'm like, no. This is the coldest October for the rest of your life. That's what it is. This is what a wonderful October this is. You'll look back on this October happily, It's so rough.
Yeah, what a normal October that was. We've got.
Sorry? Oh, I was going to say, we've got a few calls lined up that I'm super excited about. I just noticed my call-in studio is upside down for some reason, but we've got a few calls in the queue here, and one of them is actually very apropos for what we're talking about right now. If you're ready, I'd love to just jump right in to talking to people.
Sure.
So,
yeah. Wait, when did you lose the bolo tie? I'm losing mine.
I got rid of it in a minute. It was driving me up a wall. I couldn't handle it. I'm sitting here scratching up my neck. I'm too fidgety.
I can't be the only guy wearing the bolo tie. I'd look like a weirdo. Okay. All right. Let's take some dang calls.
I'm wearing one.
You're not on camera. You save it. You wear one for yourself.
I don't believe it.
Especially without the collar. I just felt like it was like a cable tow, you know what I mean? Just something to lead me about by. It was driving me nuts. I couldn't handle it.
Hey, Forrest, we're like 250 subscribers away from 100,000. Use your magic. Make it happen tonight.
Oh, fuck. You like that? You like that hot, fresh elbow action? That do anything for you?
I thought
smash
he was going to make
that
a
subscribe button
joke. The old.
It was too easy.
Yeah.
We've got Tony, pronouns he, him, calling in from Australia, who wants to know how to effectively communicate with climate deniers in his family. Tony, you are on the line. How are you doing today?
I'm a bit tired, but otherwise well. How are you?
I can feel that. I'm the same way. Very, very happy. Also very, very stressed out. So do you have a particular thing that you wanted to ask about? Is there a particular situation going on with climate deniers that you want to dig into? Or is it just in general?
Well, it is in general, but it's also, I do also have a specific. So I'm actually an academic. I research sea level change. I work on the GRACE satellite analysis. And so we target mass changes on Earth's surface. But, my family, more than half, one of my brothers, my father, my mother, my sisters-in-law, they all just deny that there's any problem, and they seem absolutely resistant to any discussion of the facts. And I'm just wondering what it is that I'm doing wrong.
Oh no,
that is a hard one. Hazel, you go first. You're better at this than me.
Pretty good proof that. Well, I don't know. I'll start off. I clearly proof that knowing a bunch of science doesn't really help with talking to deniers, because you're literally a scientist, literally a climate scientist, it sounds like, more or less. And it really feels like explaining the facts doesn't really help. Sometimes what helps is the fact that insurance rates are changing and insurance companies are seeing financial risks going up. Helps, but I think I don't know, the ethos that I've gone with, and this is not going to help you, I'm so sorry, is that for the people I do know who are climate deniers, I'm like, well, all right, you can believe that, I guess, if you don't want to believe all of the scientists and all of the economists and most of the politicians and the insurance companies and the oil companies. All of the oil companies have admitted to it too, just like very quietly, in their website.
Yeah.
If that's not good enough for you, I simply don't know how to help you. Sorry. And yeah, I mean, one thing that's nice to remind yourself of is that the vast majority of people do believe and are worried about climate change. But I don't have any magic wand that can convince anybody of anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, as an educator, I'm always looking for new ways to try to make things make sense for people. And I'm always constantly blown away by how much you can slap somebody in the face with something obvious and they'll deny that it's hitting them in the face. And so, like, if you have the capacity to sit down and actually show them a demonstration. I remember the old one, you can get two wireless thermometers, put them in two jars, cap one jar, blow a bunch of carbon dioxide into the other one, and then cap it, and then put them out in a sunny balcony or under a heat lamp or whatever for a little while, and come and check. And sure enough, the one with the carbon dioxide in it will be hotter after a little while. And you can talk about it. Like,
wow.
Why do you think that is? Like, what you see this with your eyes, that this is now hotter. So when I tell you that there's more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere now, you can understand that the Earth is probably hotter, just like the jar, right? And that works for fourth graders. So maybe it'll work with a family member, but that would require them taking the time to actually hear you out and explain it. And that's hard because it is a double-edged sword, where with a family member, they're probably going to be more patient and listening to you, but also because they're more comfortable with you, they might try to talk to you on a peer level where they don't need to. I recently had a family member, I won't say who, but just a little while ago, had a very Republican family member talking to me about how we shouldn't be teaching LGBT stuff in schools, and tried to lecture me on biology. And I was like, do you know what I do for a living? Please, like, you don't have a diploma from high school, and I can't, what are we talking about? And like, that's getting through that barrier before I can get into the actual meat of what we're talking about is really tough. And I imagine you have a similar issue. But yeah, like I think what Hazel said is really important. When you look at when this is happening in your personal life, it can be overwhelming, but it's really cool to know that at least here in the US, I think it's like something like 60-something% of voters are all on the same page that we need to be fixing this. As you know, as a scientist, not even close. The overwhelming majority of the literature is in favor of this. Even oil companies and people who have been trying to bury this for a long time are now coming out with their whole, we're doing our part to fight climate change and do carbon capture, which doesn't fucking work. But like, we're doing a thing, you know what I mean? And like, that's the fact that the whole world is moving in that direction regardless. I don't know. I would say the argument then becomes an economic one, but that's a totally different conversation.
Well, it is frustrating also in the sense that there are tipping points, right? There are points at which humans are going to lose control of carbon emissions. So melting of the permafrost, boiling of clathrate, large deforestation events or coral bleaching events. These have the potential to, the situation could already be vastly worse than we understand. So it's also, from a mental health perspective, very difficult to sort of live with that while there are people claiming that there's nothing happening and there's no risk involved. But anyway, I don't want to bring the tone of the conversation down.
No,
but thank you very much.
It's really important. No, and you have no reason to worry about that. It's really important to talk about this shit, because it's the same thing as, like, the past few years of the pandemic, where you have thousands of people dying every single day, and also you have millions of people saying this is just a cold, and it's like that you can't honestly believe that. Like, the only way that you could really genuinely think that this isn't a real problem or that masks aren't necessary is to just deliberately actually not think about what's going on.
Yeah. Don't apologize for being a bummer, because Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I was just gonna say,
real
like, yeah, please. I'm not
I feel like
saying shit.
there's a slight delay. I keep interrupting you. My bad. Okay. What I was gonna say is, like, don't feel bad for being a bummer, because I think, me personally, I think that it's a bummer, so nobody wants to talk about it, so nobody's doing anything about it, and then it becomes more of a bummer, so then nobody wants to talk about it, and then it's just this vicious cycle of nothing happening and it getting worse. So I've decided I don't care about being a bummer anymore. I'll tell people what's up.
Yeah, that really is the thing. Is like, there's a significant amount of research showing that it is called climate doomism. When you only talk about we're all gonna die, that does lead to more apathy, especially in younger people, where they're like, I didn't create this problem, I'm inheriting this problem, there's nothing I can do to solve this problem at this point in my life, so I might as well do nothing. And then that bleeds over into like other parts of their political life and ideology as well. It's just like, fuck it, it's all worthless, it's all too late for me to help anyway, it's all out of my control, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to get active, I'm not going to do anything because the adults already blew it. And like, that's a reasonable feeling considering the data. But like, being unafraid to be a bummer
can I ask you another question?
Yeah, sure, by all means.
Well, it seems to me that a lot of what's happening on a lot of these issues, on you know, the way transsexualism is being politicized, or the way climate denialism or vaccine denialism or virus denialism is coming up, is because people think that they can choose what they want to believe, and if they believe it fervently enough, that makes them a good person, because that's what religion teaches them. Religion teaches them that you can just choose what you want to believe, and if you keep to that belief regardless of what the evidence is, then you're a good, faithful person. And I feel like the work that you do here on this channel kind of attacks this at a grassroots level, and kind of instructs people to analyze and think through and actually look at what the external evidence is. And so I think what you guys are doing in a more general sense on the line is actually very constructive, because you're kind of deconstructing that mindset.
I hope so. And that is like exactly what I would say about this, is that like we live in a world, or I can say, for at least for America, here in America, about 44% of people believe or they're evangelical Christians, and they believe that the world is going to literally end within the next 50 years. The clouds are going to part, Jesus Christ is going to come down, the whole world's done. Yeah, I know you're with your Canadian dread over there, Hazel. Yeah, about 44% of Americans believe are believing in the actual apocalypse. And so the usual example that I give is, like, if you move into a new house and the landlord says, hey, I'm going to change the carpets out next month, how well are you going to take care of those carpets? How much are you going to worry about spilling and staining and all that? How much are you going to be vacuuming? How much you're not going to give a shit, because they're about to be replaced. And it's the same thing here. If almost half of the country that I live in, which is the number 2 most greatest polluter in the world, we're just behind China. If the second worst contributor to this is almost half of us are saying it doesn't matter. In the next 50 years, the world ends. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how many species go extinct. It doesn't matter how much we destroy the ecosystem. It doesn't matter how much we destroy the coral reef. It doesn't matter how many ice caps melt, how many permafrost melts, just fuck it. Hold your breath for a little while, and then Jesus will be here. I know, because it's different than the last 2,000 years where we've been saying the same thing. That kind of thing is actually a part of this conversation. And there are a lot of people, a lot of educators out there, and a lot of climate scientists and climate educators out there that stick to the science. And that's a great thing to do. I have no problem with that. Part of the reason why I do shows like this, not to get on a soapbox here, is, as I've said before, because religion is not only wrong, but it's also harmful. And this is one of the ways that it's harmful. So I think that's a very fair comparison that you made, Tony. And I think it's something we should definitely worry about. Who is leaf blowing your phone? Oh my God.
Sorry.
I thought that was you.
Sorry, I mute myself for a bit.
You're just fine. But yeah, no, I don't think I think it's a very apt comparison, and I think, as Hazel said, we need to be risking being a downer every now and then to make this a more common conversation. Because the more common of conversation is, the less shocking and sad it will be when it does come up.
Yeah, I what you said about the believing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You go.
I must have such a crazy delay. I just love interrupting people. Okay. What you said about the evangelicals believing that the world is going to end, it is true of many oil lobbyists. I found the blog of, I think it was the vice president of the Heritage Foundation, and he's like, yeah, we just gotta do what we can until the world ends, and then we're fine. And it's like, man, this guy's in charge of an oil company. What's going on here? And now you go, Tony. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, sort of, in a sense, people have normalized the idea that, your religious convictions should be a basis for how you vote and how you implement laws and policies. I lived in the US for a few years, I think, during the 2008 presidential election, and there was a Republican candidate who was asked, along with all the others, whether he was opposed to abortion. And he said, look, I think abortion is wrong, but I don't think my beliefs are a basis for legislating on it. My beliefs don't constitute a justification for imposing a law on other people. And of course, he was the only candidate on stage who said that. And he got absolutely annihilated. But it strikes me that people have misunderstood how government is supposed to work in the US. And the other thing I wanted to say is, speaking as an Australian politicians consider American politics and politicians as extremely trendy. The Prime Minister before this one was the first Prime Minister ever I can remember talking about God and his religion in public. In Australia, that was just never normal. And this guy's tried to bring it in. So where America leads, a lot of other Western countries are going to follow, I think. So
Canada too.
Yeah. While you may think of it as an American-only problem, it is a more global one, I think.
Yeah, it is like kind of tricky. Sorry, we have a person in the call stream. I'm just asking about to Jim, but I'll never call you Jim again, except unless I want to.
Jesus, I was about to say the exact same thing.
Here in America, we have this system where anybody who with enough money can hire someone to go and pester and a politician to do what you want, and can give them lavish gifts and vacations and all sorts of things. We call it lobbying here in America, and we actually, in biology, we have a term for it as well. If you open any introductory biology textbook, it's called corruption. And so it's something that we allow here for some fucking reason. Because we allow politicians to trade stocks, and because we allow politicians to take bribes, and because we allow politicians to set up super PACs where they don't have to disclose their donors, any oil company can just give somebody $1 million, and then there will be no progress. Here, I live in Oklahoma, and at the state capitol building here at Oklahoma, you go inside the big grand foyer, and they have this big dome over the top, and carved in marble around the dome are the names of oil companies that have run Oklahoma over the years. And I'm like, why not just have the names of state heroes, people, just say "we the people" over and over, something. But no, we've gone from a very socialist roots to a very, very capitalist hellscape that it is now. But yeah, that's also another story for another time. But anyway, Tony, I hope we've been of some help, at the very least, of just being somebody to talk to in all this.
Very much so. So thank you for your time, and I should let you get to bashing some theists, and I'll get back to having my leaves tortured by that person. Okay, thank you very much for the conversation. Lovely to talk to you.
Take care, Tony. Thank you for calling in, man. Seriously. while we're here, it's a great time for me to remember that I actually do have a job, and that is to remind you, person watching this right now, Eric. There's somebody named Eric who's freaked out right now. You can become a channel member if you like, or you can join our Patreon. I'll actually be doing a special Patreon live stream thing Sunday, the 12th. Yes, this upcoming Sunday. I'll be doing a special Patreon live stream thing.
Not
so
this
if you're on the
upcoming
Patreon,
Sunday. November 12th is like 3 Sundays from now.
That's right. I remember it was a Sunday after I'm doing a show. Not this Sunday, but November 12th. See, this is why I don't do these announcements, because I fucking suck at them. My brain's just a scrambled mess. But
we'll be doing a different Zoom thing with patrons, though, this month. But the Forrest one got moved to the 12th.
The Forrest one will be moved to the 12th. You can tune in for that if you're a patron. We need a few more people to subscribe for us to hit 100,000. We need a few more channel members for us to make more money from channel members. You get some emojis from it. These are all options that you have. You can do these things. And can I tell them about Conline?
No.
Okay. We had a cool idea, and now you don't get to know what it is.
Shut up. Stop. No, not yet, but soon.
So with that, we'll jump into another call then. Is that cool with you? Hazel, you into it? Did you keep moving?
No, sounds great.
Sweet. I love
There's like
the
5 other
professionalism
things you're
here.
supposed to announce, but that's all good.
Fuck. Oh, there's other shows. You can watch The Hang Up. That's one, and you can watch the...
who's on The Hang Up this week? Did you follow the link from the guide you're supposed to be following right now? Did you click the link?
I haven't opened that guide once since you sent it to me, and I have no idea where it is.
And he does this. He goes, welcome to show name. It's today's date. Fucking tomorrow. What show's on Tuesday, Forrest?
The Transatlantic.
No, that's Thursday. What's on Tuesday?
Fuck.
I'll give you a hint. It will not go on forever. It will be the show which will end before other shows. This is a very bleak hint because the host is going to die.
It's Dying Out Loud with David Warnock. That's right.
Hazel's confusion.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I gotta tune in more, man.
David Warnock, champion dyer of his generation. He really is the best at it. And he's going to be on a show on Tuesday. There you go. That's another one you can watch. And then there's the Transatlantic.
Who's joining him this week?
The Grim Reaper, as every week.
No, not this week. He's got some more time. Eve was framed. Hazel, Dave has ALS for the record.
I'm fuck into this show. This sounds great.
Yeah, Dave's fantastic. Eve was framed is fantastic. She's really cool. Say hi to her for me. And say hi to Dave. He's wonderful. And then there will be the Transatlantic, where we're going to have real, actual trans people taking your questions about trans people. That's a thing that you can tune into. We've got the Sunday show where Jimmy and Matt talk about things. We've got the Hang Up, where Matt will be talking to somebody, I'm sure, about something.
It's me. I'm his guest this week.
And you get another pairing of Jimmy and Matt. Good old Jim and Matt. Get good Matty Patty. Good old Jim and Matty Patty. Call them that on the show.
Good night, everyone.
And then you got this. And then you got this show, which is the best show because it's got us. It's got me and Hazel talking about stuff. And this is the kind of professionalism that we bring to the table. That's what sets this show above the rest, is that we come prepared with a solid understanding of ourselves and our jobs. And all of us are just like really on the same page about everything that's going on. Tag Jimmy and ask him what the plan is, because he's paid enough to care. and I am too. But boy, am I bad at keeping up.
For your show, you're literally paid more than me. So weird.
You guys are getting paid?
Yeah. Oh, you aren't? Take it up with Jimmy. He'd love to hear it.
The main hosts are paid.
I get a little slice.
They're paid so that they make announcements and all kinds of things.
Yeah, this is part of my career, is to say everything that I just said.
Wow.
So now, before we can make Jimmy even more disappointed, we'll move on to the next call. Every day I set the bar lower, and every day I surprise him. We've got Jay Pluto calling in from Georgia. It says he attends a Christian school with crazy religious claims. Jay, you are on the line. How are you today?
Hello, I'm all right. Can you hear
Awesome.
me?
I can hear you just fine.
Awesome.
So tell me about what's going on. What claims are you talking about?
I have quite a few things here. I have a list, and this is all stuff that my teacher has said in class over the past week. And I want to just like run through the topics that are here real quick, and you could like pick which ones you want to talk about because it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now you said you go to a Christian school, so like it's not out of pocket for them to be saying these things, but they might be ridiculous things.
No,
I just want to make sure I'm framing
it.
this.
It is out of pocket because it is not at all related to the Bible. It's just crazy, like conservative stuff that they've been saying. That I don't
misunderstood.
Really know how
I'm glad I clarified. Okay, perfect. So what's going on?
It's just there's a lot of stuff in that class that I have been able to like call out for being wrong during class. Like there was this thing on like origins and like human evolution and stuff, and I was able to contest that perfectly fine. But these are some other topics that I'm not quite that sure on.
Mm-hmm.
And there's quite a few of them, so I was thinking that I should just run through the topics really quick, and you like pick which ones you want to talk about, and I'll maybe call in again at some point and talk about other stuff.
Throw them at us. Let's do it.
Hit me.
So I'm going to be summarizing them a lot. Okay, so first topic is pro-Palestine. Second topic is Jonestown. Third topic is epistemology. Then humans aren't primates. Then facts-based faith. And then Christians will be discriminated against in America. And then university professors are Marxist. And then absolute morality and the Holocaust.
Fuck that one. Let's talk about let's go with my votes are going to be humans aren't primates, Marxist professors, and Christians being discriminated against. Those are the ones that I think are the funniest. Hazel, do you have any preferences beyond those ones?
I mean, the Marxist professor thing is very funny. The rest of those I simply can't debunk because I don't know if I've ever heard them before.
Oh Lord, I keep forgetting you're Canadian. It's everywhere, yo. It's everywhere. So humans not being primates. I covered this on another show just a little bit ago, and I also put out a video on my TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, which I don't recommend, I've got a video out very recently that just humans are apes. It came out a couple of weeks ago. The thing about that is that is not a matter of opinion or worldview or faith or anything like that. That is, when you classify a primate, you necessarily have to involve humans. Like the classification for what a primate is will inevitably include humans. In order to try to draw the line between a primate and a human is not possible, because it's like saying that this is a Subaru, but it's not a car. Right, it just doesn't make any. Or this is a Marlboro, but it's not actually tobacco, or it's not cigarette, or whatever. It doesn't make any sense. So you can brute force this. If you get good at it, you can brute force your way through it and try to pick what we are actually. We know we can agree that we're alive. What kind of living thing are we? Well, there's 3 domains. We're not unicellular, so that immediately rules out bacteria and archaea. We are eukaryotes. We have membrane-bound organelles. We have nucleated cells, most of them anyway. So we got that covered. Where do you have a question, or are you counting?
No. I'm doing put a finger
I
down
was-
challenge. So I'm
Put a finger
eukaryote
down.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Am I a
you're
mammal?
eukaryote.
Keep
I
going.
have
keep
a-
going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we know we're animals.
Sorry, go
then
ahead.
is the next one. We don't have cell walls. We don't have chloroplasts. Really cell walls is the biggest one. We are motile, which isn't necessary, but it's in there. We're heterotrophic. We are not filiates. We don't have little filamentous situations going on. So all of these things land us in a mammal. We can rule out plants. We can rule out fungi. We can rule out protists. In mammals, what kind of mammals are we? Well, we have this spinal cord, so we're definitely chordates. That's got phylum down. We can talk about, you said mammal. We have hair and we have mammary glands. That's going to land us in mammal no matter what. There are a shocking amount of creationists out there that think that we're mammals but not animals. What the fuck is that? We've got... going forward from there, what kind of mammals are we? Well, the biggest giveaway is that we have fucking fingernails. And there's only one kind of mammal that has fingernails, and that's primates. But you can also add in our dexterous thumbs here, the fact that we have binocular vision with eyes in the front of our heads, the fact that we have a reduced sense of smell, enhanced vision, the fact that we take a long time to care for our young, the fact that we use tools, all these things fall into the primate order. What kind of primates are we? Well, we can either be, prosimians, we can be monkeys, we can be apes. Well, we don't have a rhinarium on the end of our nose like a dog or a cat or a lemur would. So we're not strepsirrhines, we're haplorhines, which means simple-nosed. What's going on with our nostrils? Our nostrils aren't pointed out to the side, our nostrils are pointed down. So that means we're catarrhine primates. That's another, narrowing it down further. So that's either old world monkeys or apes, one or the other. So we're not old world monkeys because we don't have tails. We have really limber shoulder joints and short, stiff lower backs. We have a 2-1-2-3 dental arcade, which could also be to old world monkeys or great apes. But we also have a Y5 molar rather than a bilophodont molar. Definitely going to be in the ape category. Lesser apes are things like siamangs and gibbons. We don't brachiate. Our arms aren't longer than our legs. We are great apes. You can brute force our way through this whole fucking thing. And again, it's not a matter of faith. When you draw a box around what a great ape is, when you classify what a great ape is, every single part of it also points to humans. So that's my whole rant about that.
So Jay, did you get all that? Do you think you can tell your teacher all that?
Yes, I did.
Write it down.
I have actual statements. I did my best writing these down in class to paraphrase what he was actually talking about. And
you can also watch this video back or go watch that TikTok.
Yeah. The humans aren't apes claim was we were going over answers to a upcoming test that we're having tomorrow. And we were on the true or false questions, and he gave us some of the questions with the true or false answers so we could study that, because he doesn't like giving us tests, but he has to because of the curriculum. So he just gives us all the questions and answers beforehand. And so
frustrating.
The true or false question that he said that started this was among all quote, among all living creatures, only humans and primates wrestle with questions of why we exist. And the answer to that was false. And I brought it up to him after class, and I was like, the wording of this question is really bugging me, because it's saying only humans and primates. That's like saying only dogs and canines, when it's it'd be so much easier to just say humans and other primates. And then he said that we have to be careful about the way that we word things.
Yeah, he should be more careful about the way that he words things. Good gravy, yo. Anyway, we've got I've got a few other we got to move on to another call. It's been about almost 10 minutes, but I just want really quickly, Marxist professors was one other one that we thought was particularly hysterical. Do you have anything particular about that, Hazel, that you want to throw in?
But Jay, go ahead first.
I'm going to just read out the quotes that he was talking about.
Sure.
So he said in class, most of the universities that you'll probably attend, most of your professors, mostly in the social sciences, are from a worldview that's more Marxist than atheist. And then he goes on to give an anonymous testimony of a girl that was once his student, saying that her professor made it clear at the beginning of the class that he was trying to turn Christians into agnostics and atheists, but he doesn't give any names, universities, or classes. And he also said, the people who are Marxist, people who are socialist, when they teach you history, are they going to be neutral? No, they're not, even though they should be.
So many first of alls. Fucking shit, dude. First of all, people who are Marxist, people who are socialist. That's two different things. Are you saying either this or that? Is he lumping them together?
And primates.
Humans and primates, exactly. And, what is that? Fucking shit, dude. And then also, you think that somebody who is Marxist or socialist or communist or whatever isn't going to be objective and isn't going to have or is going to show bias, but a capitalist wouldn't? Like, being capitalist means that you are objective, or you what is that? Everybody's going to put out their bias in what they're saying. Like, what?
The idea of teaching history from a neutral standpoint is like kind of impossible to do. It's basically just training you to look at a set of facts and interpret them based on your worldview. There's no neutral point of view from which to interpret history.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess they're interpreting it from a Marxist one. This teacher that definitely exists, but so is everybody else.
Right, exactly. That one time when that one teacher said that one thing that was totally indicative of literally every other university professor ever. That's the thing. And like, that's what's frustrating about it, is that, you know, Hazel hit the nail on the head. When I was in grad school, when I was doing anthropology, we took this class called archaeological theory, and I've talked about archaeological theory. Don't play with your food, Hazel. I was talking about archaeological theory quite a bit on this show. I've covered it. But archaeological theory is the way that we understand the facts of what we're digging up out of the ground. And there's this great archaeologist that wrote this great textbook. His name is Matthew Johnson. I'm pretty sure that's his name. And he gave me the best definition for the word theory in science that I personally have ever heard. And it was putting facts in order. That's what a theory is you have all these facts. What order you put them in definitely changes like how you're going to interpret those facts. So say, for example, you have the climate scientist that called in a minute ago. The way that he looks at the data determines what conclusion he's going to draw from the data. That's why we have discourse in academia. And there is such a thing as Marxist archaeological theory, where you apply Marxist ideology, Marxist principles to our understanding of human culture and human civilization and human origins. And it gives you some different ideas of what's been going on. To say that makes you unobjective is insane. It means you're thinking different thoughts and trying different things out. And I'll leave it at this. I'm so sorry for rambling, but like, the biggest fucking thing that gets me is the people who claim that Marxists and socialists and communists and whoever else are indoctrinating people, that we're being biased and we're pushing our worldview. They're really telling on themselves, because sharing several ideas, giving a broad ideology, like a broad spectrum of different thought processes, that's not indoctrination. That's education. When you only teach people the one thing that you want them to know and want them to believe, that is indoctrination. What your teacher is doing by saying that all other worldviews are bad and you should only listen to his, that is indoctrination. It's something I could go on for a long time, but we already have a theist on the line. I'd like to get to them, but I really appreciate you calling in, Jay. I hope this helps at least a little bit to make you feel less crazy.
Yeah. Before I go, I just want to say, like, Hazel, I don't know much about you, but from what I've heard you say so far, I'm really interested in knowing more about like your content and stuff that you make. And Forrest, I just wanted to say thank you, because you inspired me to be passionate about my education again, and to actually be interested in things. And you are the reason that I want to become a biologist in the future. I want to go to college to be a biologist.
Thanks, man. That really means the world to me. That's very, very kind of you. And be sure to drop Hazel a follow on all platforms because she's pretty fucking smart too.
Of course.
Aw, shuck.
You guys have
Take
a
care,
good
Jake.
rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Take care. All right. So
checking
we've
in
got...
on the comments. The people love Jay.
Oh, yeah.
Also, sorry, my cat is screaming. It's either screaming or on my lap. So everybody say hi. Okay. Anyway, she's camera shy.
Gross.
Put her back down.
So we've
Gross?
got...
Cat? Unbelievable.
I love just giving people shit for having cats or being around cats or anything like that. I always make the same dumb jokes about how, like, I don't really hate cats that much. I just can't finish one in one sitting, and so I just don't see the point. You know what I mean? It's the same stupid shit all the time. We've got Paul calling in from Texas,
right
pronouns he, him. Sorry, what?
I'm so offended.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. We've got Paul calling in from Texas, says from a Christian standpoint, climate change started back in Genesis. Paul, you're on the line. How are you doing today?
How are y'all doing today? I'm a 50-year-old man, 50-something-year-old man, so I'm old. Y'all are young people or whatever, but I'm going to give my comment, if I could, on that question I saw up there, if I read it right, about why God, if there is a God, that he can't solve climate control. Is I right about that?
That was probably a chat poll. That sounds like something we would have put out
Oh,
there.
is this the title? Is this the title?
Yeah.
The
I'm looking at it.
The titles have almost no
God
meaning.
to solve climate change?
Oh, no
That's
God
the
to
title.
solve climate
That's what it
change.
says.
That's right. Yes.
That's what it says on my television, so I hope I'm telling y'all right here. I wanted to add...
You are, yeah.
know,
You're right.
Christian,
That's the name of the stream that I wasn't paying attention to. They give it some kind of quirky name about the host. So you've got the atheist debater and then the climate person, and you know what I mean. But that's the whole vibe of it.
Okay, well, from a Christian standpoint, I know you're probably familiar with the Bible. This world, and if you look at the condition of it today, understand, I'm not I can't throw my beliefs. I know you're atheist and I respect that. But from a Christian standpoint, if you look at the state of the world and the way it's heading, it all goes hand in hand, in my view, with the Bible, how it all started with sin in Adam and Eve. God doesn't stop climate control or climate change. He could, because this world was cursed. And you just look around at what the state of it, and to me, it just goes right along with the Bible. Now, I'm sure you'll disagree, but that's my take on it.
So actually, I don't 100% disagree that I do think that there's an argument to be made that it does go along with the Bible. My question would be, why should I care about the Bible? Because the Bible, the state of the world right now, if you squint real hard at it and you kind of try to force it into some weird boxes, it matches some of the vagaries of the Bible. However, the Bible isn't factual in really any way. It doesn't teach us anything good about the world, and the moral implications of the Bible, especially if you try to factor climate change into it, are hideous. And so it falls back onto what I said earlier, where I said that this is not only something that's wrong, it's actually harmful. Because if you believe that the world is cursed and that all this is born of sin and that we need to repent, it's a lot less likely that you would be serious about trying to tackle climate change. You'd be more likely to go to church, and that's not helping anybody.
Okay, well, in my view, if you look at the state of the world and what the Bible says about this, our hearts and how wicked, we love sin, and we'll do anything to justify that sin, is my belief as a Christian, myself included. When it goes against what we want to do as humans, just as the Bible says it does, we'll make up every excuse in the world to try to justify it. Now, all the things that they're saying and teaching, that people weren't there to witness that either. These are just man's theories and opinions, just like I wasn't there to see Jesus die on the cross. But when I look at the condition of man and his heart, myself included, and the state of us, I would much more choose to believe Jesus and God, who is God, than man. And, that's just me, because I know man's heart is wicked. And so that's what I'm saying. I wasn't there to see, none of us were there to see anything we're claiming. We're just taking it basically by faith. And I'd much rather trust Jesus, because to me, the Holy Spirit is telling me it makes a lot more sense when I look at people again, I include myself. I'm not a Christian that sits here and is going to claim to you that I'm perfect.
Let me just ask you a question there, Paul. I want to understand something here. You talked about like how, you know, we as I'm assuming what you meant that we as scientists looking back through history at, you know, millions and millions of years of history, that we weren't there for it, and so all we have is faith on what was going on back then, and you have faith in the Bible and Jesus and what those things say. I'm just curious to know if you really seriously believe that science is a faith-based endeavor, or if you understand that there's a significant difference between me understanding evolution, the age of the earth, the history of climate change, the history of, you know, the history of this world, versus you saying it says XYZ thing in the Bible and therefore I believe it. Do you understand there's a significant difference between those two things?
I see what you're saying. And sure, science has done a lot of great things. There's a lot of smart scientists. I would agree with that, but they're not God. That it's just their theories and opinions.
That's not what I asked.
It's just their theories. And what were you asking, man? I'm missing it. So
what I'm asking is
better here.
Yeah. You keep throwing around the word theory as if the word theory means just a guess or just kind of like your worldview or what you want to believe. What I'm asking you is, do you understand that there is a huge, huge difference between an actual scientific theory and believing in something based on faith? You understand that those are completely different things that are not in any way comparable?
Well, you know, I think I see what you're saying, but again, science cannot prove all of these things. That's just man trying.
Can you give me the definition? Can you give me the definition of theory, Paul?
I'm not a scientist, so I guess you can tell that. I was an athlete in school, so I've been called an ape and everything else. I was a jock, so I mean, I'm not a scientist, to be honest.
Can you tell me what? Can you tell me what a scientific
I just want to cut in real quick.
Yeah, by all means.
Okay, can I cut on real quick? So, I don't really want to challenge your faith at all. What I do want to say, sorry, I guess I know what that's what the show is for.
I do, but we'll get it later.
Let's say, okay, you can do that, but let me talk first. So, I guess science shows that the burning of fossil fuels, for example, is making a lot of people right now sick. So this isn't something that we're like predicting is going to happen in 20, 30 years where the world is going to get hotter for some scientific reason. But right now there's air pollution, there's water pollution. A lot of things that people are doing are making other humans sick and making their lives worse and killing them. And if there's a way for us to transition away from dirty sources of fuel that are making people's lives worse to sources of fuel that come from the sun and from the wind and are cheaper and also, you know, don't make people's lives worse, don't make people sick, and hopefully prevent climate change in the future, assuming we all believe in that. Why wouldn't we do it? Why would we just sit around waiting for some apocalypse that might come because of God or man or wickedness or whatever, when we could just take action and change things? We've changed our energy sources plenty of times, from wood to coal to fossil fuels to now renewables. Why not try that? That's my question. But I can throw it back to either Paul.
I didn't catch it.
I'm Hazel.
I didn't catch your name to the lady talking. What's your name? Okay.
Forrest or mine?
No, her.
Yeah, Forrest. Is your name Forrest? Okay, I'm sorry. Or your name, the lady that's speaking, the nice lady speaking here on the screen.
I'm Hazel.
Okay, Hazel, that's a nice name. I was just going to respond to you in that best I can or whatever. Again, we can do all of those things that you just mentioned. That's fine. People want to do all kinds of things, and they will try to do things. But as a Christian, you can do all that. But when I say a fallen world in a non-perfect world, it's never going to be enough. I mean, this world is going to be full of sin. Just look at how it's going. I mean, it might temporarily make it better, but the only thing when man sinned against God, all those things, it's my belief as a Christian, there's nothing that, man is just exhausting his efforts in my view, whatever. God, Jesus.
So there's no point in trying to materially improve the world in any way?
Sure, you can do that, but as long as you understand when you put questions, the question up there that if there is a God, if I read it right, why can't he control climate change? Sure, man can do all those things, and he's tried to do it, but it's never going to solve it because this world is cursed, and I mean it's just is my belief. You may not believe that, and I respect that. But in my belief, it's cursed. It's never going to be perfect like people want it to be.
I don't think Hazel's arguing for it to be perfect. It sounds like she's arguing for it just to be better and to try to save people's lives.
Yeah.
We see right now that there's
Sure,
something
well, it
that's
could. I
actively
agree with
hurting
that.
people.
Okay, Forrest, it could be, man. It could be. But again, this is a fallen world. All you have to look at is at people and all the different things sin-wise we're all into
Hey, Paul,
to see that the Bible...
in the future, if you're going to interrupt the host, could you not do it to just repeat the exact same point? If you're going to interrupt them, interrupt with something new, or just don't interrupt, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand you think the world is fallen and all these things, but like, say, for example, the smallpox vaccine, right? Lots and lots of people were dying of smallpox, and I've heard lots of Christians, I don't know if you prescribe to this belief, but I've heard lots of Christians say that disease, like by and large, is caused by sin and by the fallen world, and the exact same things that you're saying here. So why did we cure smallpox? Why did we create a vaccine for that when we could have just said, I mean, fuck it, dude, we're all going to get diseases anyway. We should just let it be what it is.
Well, God allowed it. God gave us a cure, is my belief. But there's still so many other things that we haven't cured. God was with us.
So he wanted us to suffer and die in other ways. That one he was okay with us taking care of.
Oh no, understand. God does not want people to suffer and die. That is Satan. Satan is the ruler of this dark world. His forces. Ephesians says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against fallen principalities in dark places. That's not the exact way, but
I understand.
That's fine.
So Satan. I understand now. Satan is more powerful than God, and so Satan has control because he's. Oh, so God is more powerful than Satan.
God is more powerful than Satan. He allows things. Why did I have blood clots in my leg that broke free and was loaded with them 2 years ago?
Before we get there, I just want to ask if you had like a bunch of children and you loved your children, and your neighbor Ted was coming over and like beating the shit out of your children and like hurting them, would you let that happen or would you stop it?
Well, Forrest, a lot of these things that happen, man, are a result of sin. God allows these things because of
that
our
makes
sin.
sense. I understand. So if you have children, if you have children and your neighbor comes over and is beating your children, it's okay because your children stole cookies yesterday. They didn't do their homework. So you let your neighbor beat your children because that's an okay thing to do. Is that what you're saying?
Forrest, again, this is a fallen world. Things happen as a result
and you're
of
fallen
sin.
Children. You have
like
a fallen household. And so you let your neighbor beat your children because your children did bad things, and that's okay. Is that what you're getting at?
No, Forrest, I'm trying to say that God gave us a mind to turn those people in. God doesn't condone that. That's people doing that. Just like people in the Bible, God didn't do any of that stuff. People did it.
Paul,
it's our sinful nature.
Let me try to explain this to you, and because I feel like this isn't getting through. So let me really spell it out. If God is all powerful, if God has all the power and all the control, if God has control over the whole wide world, any bad thing that happens at all, inevitably the responsibility falls back on him. He can say, well, humans did a bad thing, or Satan's here, or whatever else. If God is all powerful and he doesn't intervene and he doesn't stop bad things from happening, that means he's allowing it deliberately. He wants it to happen. Either God is good and he's going to go do good things and stop bad things from happening, or he's all powerful and he has the ability to stop it. If God is good and powerful, there would be no pain and suffering in the world at all. If God is neither good nor powerful, he's not worthy of worship. If God is good but not powerful, I don't know why we're talking about him. He can't do anything anyway. And if God is powerful but not good, then he's just evil. Like, there's no way you can slice this where God doesn't come out as either the bad guy or completely useless.
Forrest, can I say something, man? I apologize for interrupting you a while ago, by the way. I'll try to be respectful
you're
to
fine.
people. So I'm sorry
there's
if
a delay.
did that. I wasn't trying to be rude.
There's a lot of interruptions.
Yes, I'm getting a delay. I didn't know if you knew that. There is a delay on my phone. So I'm sorry, man. I wasn't trying to be rude.
Okay, hang on. I'm jumping in here because is there a delay? Yes. I test the delay before every show. This show, it is 1.25 seconds. Also, you didn't interrupt him after he had started within that 1.5 seconds. He had said 2 to 3 sentences, and then you interrupted him as he was mid-sentence of another one. So let's not start shitting and pretending that we have these excuses of delays, and let's get on to
It's all your
why
fault,
don't
Jimmy.
you just Paul?
Okay, well, I'll answer his question. I'll answer his question.
Why are you interrupting me now? We're literally talking about not interrupting, and you're interrupting me. The worst guy to interrupt. So y'all talk about why you believe these things, and let's not try and make excuses for being fucking rude.
Paul, don't fuck with Jimmy. He'll cut you off, I promise. Just tell us why you believe this, I guess is a good way to start here.
Okay, well, you're right. There is a lot of bad that happens in this world, and it will continue to be that way until Jesus returns. If you read your Bible, you will understand that it will be that way. There will be things, horrible things like you just described, people beating kids and everything else because of the fallen world. But Jesus took care of that on the cross.
Right.
When he paid our sin debt. God is
Paul,
a good God. Jesus is God.
Paul, forgive me for interrupting. It is the nature of the show that I have to ask a bunch of pointed questions. So forgive me for if I jump in front of you here. But like the thing that I don't think you're getting here is that what you're doing is you're making excuses for God. If God is all powerful, he can make any world that he wants, right? So here's a question for you. The last time you did a sinful thing, was it possible that you didn't do that? Did you have a free choice? Do you have free will? The last time you did a sin, could you have possibly chosen not to do that sin?
I do have a free will, and I could have chosen not to do. I did the sin anyway. But when you're a Christian, you try not to walk in sin. We are forgiven, but we're not to walk in it. So I do sin from time to time, but I don't walk in it.
Please understand, I do have a good handle on the Christian faith. I've been debating it for a minute, so you don't have to explain it all. I just want to know, like, the last time you sinned, you could have not sinned. And the last time before that, you could have not sinned. And the last time before that, you could have not sinned. Is it theoretically possible? Like, I'm not saying anybody lives this way, but is it possible that somebody lives a life where every single time they make the correct choice and they never, ever sin ever?
It's not possible. That's the whole reason Jesus came and went to the cross and endured all he did.
So then there is no free will then?
There is a free will, and man chose it. Again, that's why Jesus went to the cross. Look at all the things in the Bible man did.
But doesn't that logically follow then, Paul? Paul, doesn't that logically follow then? If I have free choice to either sin or not sin, it's possible for that I choose not sin. And it's possible, if I have free choice, that I choose not to sin every single time that I'm tempted to sin, every single time. Possibly, I could choose not to, right? That's a theoretically possible thing that could happen. Again, I'm not saying it ever would. I'm just saying that logically, isn't that possible?
If you're living the Christian life, and I realize you're not, and you don't accept that, and I respect that, man, but if you're trying to live the Christian life, I try not to sin my best, but when I do fall short, I have the blood of Jesus to cover those sins.
Paul, please, you're giving me a sermon, and I'm looking for a yes or a no. Is it possible to not sin? Theoretically, just hypothetically, if I have free will, that means I can either make the right choice or the wrong choice freely. So that means that logically, I could always make the right choice, right?
Again, we have a fallen nature. No, we can't. That's our fallen nature.
So
that's
then
what
there's
we
no
inherited
free will,
from the
Paul.
garden.
So then there's no free will. If it's
Let me
impossible,
ask you this: Have you heard of Jesus Christ? Do you accept him?
Yes, I have heard of him, and no, I don't accept
him. You're a Christian. There's your free will. You reject him. That's your right. So that's your free will.
Paul,
quit
you can't say.
You wouldn't even let Forrest finish answering. And now I almost doubt you're even real if you're going to sit here with, I know you're atheist, and then you're going to ask, do you accept
But you're
Jesus
demonstrating
Christ?
free will. You reject Jesus Christ.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
That's a free will.
I get where he's
Paul,
coming
shut
from.
the fuck up. Forrest and Hazel get to talk now, and they will give you permission to continue talking.
There is no free will if I have no choice and I will inevitably sin. If there's such a thing as free will, it means that I could sin or I could choose not to sin. If you're going to say that it's completely inevitable and there's no way that I could ever just not sin anymore, then there's no free will and I'm doomed to sin forever. Either you have free will and it's possible to live a perfect sinless life, or you don't have free will and you have the fallen world argument you've given us on repeat. Hazel,
am I making sense to you? What Paul's trying to say is like free will exists, but Pobody's nerfed, man. Have you considered?
I get that, but I keep saying hypothetically, theoretically, like hypothetically, I could jump hard enough to shatter my own knees. It's not gonna fucking happen, but it's possible logically, right? So it's the same thing with this. Theoretically, hypothetically, in a magical made-up world, if we follow the rules of logic, if I could choose this or I could choose that, it's possible that I could choose that, and then I do. So if we have free will, it logically makes sense that I could always make the right choice and live a completely sinless life. Yes or no, Paul?
You're born, you get baptized, you die. I think that's how you do it.
I'm sorry, Hazel, I'm not trying to interrupt you. What were you saying there?
No,
go ahead and finish your thought before I respond.
I was making a stupid joke. I said, here's how you do it. Ready? You're born, you get baptized, you die. I don't know. Baptism optional, I guess. But
right.
That's how you do it. Well, my response to his question would be Adam and Eve are a perfect example of free will when they chose to eat the apple that caused all of this. We inherited it. So that's your answer.
Could they have chosen to not eat the apple? Okay.
They could have, but they chose to disobey God.
That's all we need then. That's fine. That's perfect. They could have chosen not to eat the apple, and then nothing about this conversation would be relevant, right? There would not be a fallen world. There would not be sin.
Right. Their free will, if they'd have chosen to obey God, the world would be perfect. That's how it started out. Adam and Eve, and man has been fallen ever since, myself included.
Does God know the future? Does he know everything that will ever happen? Is he all-knowing?
He is all-knowing. Read Revelation, Forrest. That'll tell you how it's going to end. Jesus.
I have read Revelation. Right. I'm asking you for a yes or no answer.
Right.
I'm asking you for a yes or no. He does? Okay.
Right. Yes.
Then we're where we were 20 minutes ago when I said, then the blame falls on God. If God made Adam and Eve and knew that they were going to sin and rebel against him and eat the apple, and he still made the tree that way, and he still made the garden that way, and he still made them that way, and he made the whole world, then he knew what was going to happen. It's inevitably his fault. If I get in my car and it has 10 miles in the gas tank and I decide to drive 100 miles, I can't be mad at the car when it runs out of gas and blame the car for rebelling against me. I knew it was going to happen and I had the power to change it, and I chose not to. God knew that that was going to happen. He could have changed the circumstances so that they didn't sin and still had free will, but he didn't. He chose the way that it is. He chose to make the world this way, knowing how it was going to pan out, and now he's choosing to punish us for his stupid mistake. Do you understand?
Forrest, if God would have created robots, it would have been a perfect world. We'd all been perfect. But because he gave us that free will, that's the result of it. And Jesus was predicted in Genesis. I'm just being honest with you, man.
I don't know how to make it any more clear, Paul. You are completely missing what I'm saying, and I don't know if it's deliberate or not.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying, but God didn't create robots. He created human beings with a mind.
Hey, Paul, was that the end of Forrest's sentence? It wasn't. Why don't you go ahead and apologize to Forrest right now?
Okay, Forrest. I've got a delay here, man. I'm not trying to be rude to you, brother. I really am not.
It is not the delay. You interrupted repeating the words Forrest had just said before his sentence was over. So don't blame the delay.
Well, Forrest, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian. I try to live right. Okay, well, I apologize. And Jimmy, would you please not use the F word? That's rude to me.
I will fucking use the fucking F word as much as I fucking
All right,
want on my
you're a
fucking
perfect
channel.
example.
Fuck
You're
you.
a perfect
Fuck
example of
you.
the fallen world.
Fuck you.
Oh.
I also am a perfect example of
Sorry,
somebody who
man,
has
your
access to a
technical
mute
limitations.
button, you
You're
piece
correct.
of dog shit. I give a fuck what your opinion is of me. I have all the power. The closest thing you have ever encountered to a god is me right now on this show, and I'm making you my bitch. And now I will unmute you.
Oh no! What did Paul ever do to
Paul.
us, guys?
Oh, Paul, it's
Hey,
so
Forrest,
frustrating.
I'm
because
sorry, man.
I'm spelling
Forrest,
this out
I
for you,
apologize
and
to you, brother.
I accept your apology. What I'm saying is,
I-
it seems to me,
Right.
like you are deliberately avoiding the point that's being made and just going right back
No.
into preaching. You're going right back into giving the
I'm
same
not preaching.
sermon.
Forrest,
You
God did not
absolutely
create
are.
robots,
just went
man. He
over this.
gave us a human brain.
Paul, we just went over not interrupting, and you're back to it. You just have to wait for him to finish. Everybody else can do it. You can do it. But you want to sit here and lecture people on not swearing when you, like a child, can't keep your fucking mouth to yourself until someone's done talking
Good
to you.
Lord. I used to play football.
Oh my God. Did you used to play the football? Is it the flashbacks to when the boys weren't so nice to you? I give a fuck, Paul. I muted you again, by the way, because now you're complaining about rightfully being told to not keep fucking interrupting. Christ.
We have
Fucking
two other
Christ.
people. We have two
The
other
wrath,
calls
the
to get to,
wrath.
and we don't have
I think
much
I can
time.
wrap. I think I got something to wrap it up with Paul, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'll
by
unmute
all
him.
means, because I
God,
don't think he's
I
going
forgot
to.
I was hosting this.
Yeah, I don't think
it
Paul is
feels
going
like
to
one of those
interact
things
with
where
my
you're
point.
listening to a podcast and you're just like kind of commenting on it, and then I just remembered I'm on it.
Right.
I have nothing against you, Forrest. Go ahead.
You go for it, Hazel. What's your thing?
All right. I think just to wrap it up, sounds like we're running ourselves into some circles here. I don't know if it's going to get resolved in this call, to be honest, but I think my challenge would be, if God's not going to solve climate change, maybe people should, and maybe we should let them try. I know there have been a lot of Christians trying to say that climate change isn't happening and all the scientists are lying for some reason, but it might be worth a shot to just assume that maybe the world isn't fallen and that everybody except for Jimmy wants the best for everybody, and maybe we try and make it a better place to live in. Unless you're Jimmy.
Hazel,
and then
you have every right to believe. You have every right to believe that. I respect that.
I'm dropping you. You
but I just know.
It's a nice thing to believe. I'd recommend it.
I don't care for people bragging at the end of the call that they've essentially heard nothing. So that's why I interrupted and just let them go.
All right.
It is. Yeah, man, it was frustrating. It's like just, hey, God made the world this way. Well, he didn't make robots. Yeah, but people could choose to not sin, right? No, they can't. So they don't have free will? Yes, they have free choice. So then they could choose not to sin, right? No, they can't. So they don't have over and over and over. And then finally, when we get to the crux of the argument, if God knew what was going to happen and let it happen anyway, it's his problem. If I DVR a football game and I know the outcome, I can't start the football game and say, well, if this team loses, I'm going to punish them. They can't do anything else. I know the ending. It makes me the asshole. And then the answer to that is, well, God didn't make robots. It doesn't matter. It's deeply annoying to have someone who gets stuck in sermon mode and can't actually engage in a conversation because they only know the sermon that they have canned for that kind of question. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of when I was back in sales and like sometimes people would ask me a question and I'd be like, I don't know, man. So I would just go back into my same sales spiel as usual and not answer their question.
Yeah.
Half the time they wouldn't even notice though, so.
It works when you're not paying attention, and that's why Christians do it. That's why theists are all about just using the same sermon on repeat, because if you're not thinking very hard, we call it a thought stopper. You know what I mean? It's I don't have to think about this if I just get to, well, God can send me to hell, or well, God can do whatever he wants, or well, this is a fallen world, or well, there's sin, and well, you don't have to think anymore.
Fallen world.
Yeah, fallen world, y'all. Yeah, fuck climate change. Fallen world.
Yeah, good. God. Burn it.
Someone in the live chat pointed out that I called him a piece of dog shit and that is not cool. And I agree. And so I'm officially apologizing to dog shit everywhere because that was not okay, to all of that innocent dog shit.
All that innocent dog shit. God. We've got 2 more calls left, and then we'll jump into our super chats for the end of the show. I'm going to save this one for last because it's actually a repeat call, and who knows where it'll go. We've got one who's been waiting just about as long, though. We've got Justin calling in from VA, Virginia, I think so. So if it's not, I don't care. Saying that he's having issues with deconstruction and wants some pointers. Justin, you're on the line. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Forrest. It's finally good to be able to actually talk to you.
So tell us about your issues. I bet I'll have a fiery, weird answer, and Hazel will have a thoughtful and compassionate one.
Well, first, I'd like to say thank you very much, Forrest, for helping me with deconstruction in the first place. Between you and Aron Ra. But my biggest issue now with deconstruction is that, I am still very, very much struggling with it. Like, there are many times where I still find myself praying, even though I know it's bullshit. There are times when I'm sitting there thinking to myself, oh, man, that's a sin. I shouldn't do that. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What am I talking about? There's other things. And it's just a state of mind, I think, that's been burned into me for I'm 40 years old. So I just started deconstruction like 3 years ago. So this is an ongoing thing. I don't know how long it's going to take. And I'm hoping that maybe you or Hazel could give me some pointers to help.
Yeah, for sure. Hazel, do you have a deconstruction story that you'd like to share? Any tips?
Well, my mom did all the work for me and then raised me as an atheist, so I sure don't.
Okay. You lucky person. So most people on this channel have something that they've been through, just like what you're talking about here. As for me, I was never Christian, but I was half-assed, quasi weird spiritual. I was raised pagan. In case anybody watching this doesn't know, I was raised pagan. I was raised to believe that you could draw certain pentagrams on the ground and burn certain herbs and chant certain words and make all sorts of wonderful things happen for your life, and that they were all manner of. It's fucking sick, dude. It would be so cool if it was real. And I believe that there were all sorts of fucking ghosts and spirits and deities and demigods and all sorts of things all around you at all times. There was this external world that we interacted with, and that you could, your parents and ancestors watched over you, all sorts of things that I had. And when I dropped that, there was still kind of that intermittent period in there of like, well, if there's energy everywhere, and that makes things, and there's math, which is like the language of everything, and there's like this stuff that kind of connects the whole universe, and if you squint your eyes at it and tilt your head to the side, that's kind of like a God kind of thing. You could kind of call that, and maybe Jesus and stuff isn't real, and yet all the religions have some little piece of the truth because there's some magic that everyone has access to that they just don't know because technology's in the way, and all this kind of just pseudo spiritual kind of stuff. And once I started applying the exact same rules of logic that I did to every fucking thing else to that, it fell apart instantaneously. It was the last vestige, the last dying gasp of me trying to have some sort of spiritual belief, was trying to twist science into something spiritual. And to this day, there are just every now and then, I'll still have irrational thoughts, not necessarily about, that kind of thing, but like for sure, like I want to call my dad like at least once a week and tell him what's going on. He's been dead for 10 years. or at least I sincerely hope that he's been dead for 10 years because they like cremated him a while ago. But like I still want to call him every now and then. He used to tell me shit because he was Catholic. Tell me how the fuck that happened. My mom was pagan. My dad was Catholic. What's that all about? But like, he would tell me all the time. He'd be like, "Oh, look up on those clouds, and after I'm gone, I'll be right there on that cloud looking down at you." And sometimes I'm still like, he saw me do that. Oh, wait, no, he didn't. And like, these are coping mechanisms. It's a childhood blanket that you have. It's a stuffed toy. It's something that has made you happy in the past and has calmed you down in the past, and your mind wants to jump back to it. And basically, the whole thing that I think is that like, if you have something that took you, 10 years to deconstruct. I don't know when you started your deconstruction journey, but if you've been believing something for 10 years, don't expect it to go away in 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 weeks
it
or
was
10
like
months.
3 years ago, actually. It was like 3 years ago, actually, when I started.
And how long were you religious?
Mainly because I watched a lot of, oh God, I've been a Christian all my life. I was raised Christian.
So you have something that was beaten into your dumb little baby head when you were a child, and just 3 years ago now you've been able to break the chains of and set yourself free. Give yourself the same compassion you would give anybody else who's recovering from any illness, and grow and heal. And yeah, that's gonna fucking suck sometimes. I compare it a lot to grief. Grief is a place that you visit. It's not something that you have. It's just something that washes over you. It's like standing in the ocean. Sometimes the waves are up over your head. Sometimes they're down by your feet and you don't even notice them, but they're always there. That kind of trauma that is caused by religious upbringing, that kind of pain that comes along with it, the kind of mind rot that is demanded by it is not something that you can heal overnight. It's something you may yet have to deal with for years, maybe decades to come. But every single day gets better. And sometimes it fucking sucks. And sometimes it's devastatingly difficult to deal with. But at the end of the day, aren't you happy you're free? Aren't you happy that you're free and you get the opportunity to heal yourself on your own terms? That's what the advice I would give.
Most of the time. But I would also say that, one of the biggest issues that's never really talked about is like, you hear Christians always talking about how we're oppressed and people are always attacking us for our religion. Bull. Yeah. It's the opposite route. The moment I said that I no longer believed, oh no, now I'm ostracized. Now people are like, oh no, you can't be around him.
Yeah. I actually,
ridiculous.
I wanted to make a TikTok, and I'm pretty sure it would get me banned, but I might still do it. I wanted to make a TikTok for a few months now. I've had this idea of like, what if I said to religious people the things that they say to me as an atheist? The thing. What if I took all the things that religious people say to me and I said it back to them with a little atheist spin on it? Because I have been told by people. I had one time I had a guy call me that I knew for a few years and didn't know that I was an atheist, and he asked me some question and I told him, I'm sorry, I can't answer this. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in this whatever religious thing you're asking me. And he just said, oh, I guess. He's kind of taken aback, and he said, I'm sorry. I guess you're not the man I thought you were. I thought you were a good person. I guess never mind. And he dropped the call and never spoken to me since. You're not as good of a person as I thought you were. Never speak to me again. I've had people say you're an atheist, but you're so nice. What? Or you're an atheist, but you seem so smart. What? These kind of things. And like these are things that like people don't realize how fucking hurtful and crazy that is. And the Christian religion I've spoken about before in terms of like the persecution complex, when you bake into the sauce that you're going to be persecuted, the part of the doctrine is you'll know that it's real when people try to convince you it isn't real. You'll know Jesus is coming back when more people don't believe in Jesus. You'll know the end of the world is happening when more people tell you that this religion, when more people rise up against this religion, everything. Every single time they don't get their way, they can attribute that to their religion being accurate and that you're part of the problem that they're fighting against and have to be so strong against. That's what cults do. that's what they're good for. So yeah, just it's something that you're gonna have to deal with for a long time. And I sincerely hope that here on the line and in the community that we built here, that you can find some sort of fellowship with other atheists, and that you can kind of share your deconstruction story, share your pain and your issues with people who have been through it and can give you some relative comfort that's saying, hey, I went through that exact same fucking thing. I've been there. You're not crazy. There's this old, it's very basic psychology shit that I am not a psychologist and I probably shouldn't talk about. But one that I learned from a psychologist friend of mine it's called the Rumpelstiltskin effect. The second you can name something and realize that you're not the only one going through it, it becomes a lot less scary and a lot less traumatic very fast, and something you can deal with now. So I hope that you can find some fellowship and some camaraderie here amongst other atheists, because community is the one thing that the atheist community sucks at. The atheist community at large sucks at having a community. So hopefully
that was the thing that I was going to say. I feel like the thing that I would miss the most if I were, leaving a religion is like the community. And so, building up a new community, even if it's online, that might help.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope that helps you at least a little bit, Justin.
It does. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
No worries, man. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I hope that talking to the people here in the chat, maybe you'll be able. Don't we have a Discord, Jimmy?
Now you want to know? Yeah, that's a thing. But that's for patrons. That's a patron.
There's part of my announcements. Hey, Justin, fucking pay $3 a month to get mental help in our Discord.
I feel like he just guessed that, but I think he just got lucky.
Is it actually $3 a month
for the only thing? If the only thing you want is the Lions Patreon or Discord, that's $3 a month. I feel like you got.
There you go. And I get 25 cents of it. So give us that money. No, for real. I'm sure there's places out there that are free, that are easy to go to. I don't know what, Reddit or something, but like that's what I would recommend is other people who have been through that kind of deconstruction. Rhett McLaughlin of Rhett and Link fame does a bunch of talks about his deconstruction more and more recently. And I think he and Link just went on Howie Mandel and talked about it. And it was touching. A lot of it was really nice. And maybe that would resonate with you as well, even though they're a lot softer than I would ever be. But like that might, there's lots of places like that of people who have been in the faith for a long time, deconstructing that I think really helps a lot of people to get out of it and to kind of take the burden off of themselves for feeling the way that they do.
Make sure if you're going to look for or especially form a community that you add one thing on top of atheist, because atheist means so little. And if you just go, this is an atheist community, all atheists welcome, you're going to have fucking Nazis and transphobes and giant dudes. Yeah. It turns out not even most atheists are dope. So you'll want to add something like we try to make it about humanism and skepticism and shit here.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Very true.
And actually, that was another thing when you mentioned transphobia. One of the biggest things that you helped a lot with, Forrest, was that one video you did about how gender and sex is not like binary; it's on a track. Yeah. Remember that video?
Yeah,
I showed that video to my nephew.
So bad.
I love that video. I showed it to my nephew, and it made him feel tons better about being trans.
Well, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, no, I want to redo that video. I wanted to redo it this year, but this year's gotten away from me. So I'm actually doing I'm doing a second master's right now in biomed, and as part of my research for that, I actually wanted to focus on biological sex and its implications in humans, and I want to turn that research paper into a new version of that video and like really do it up. So like, don't tell anybody that because it's a secret of what's going to come on my channel later on. But like, that's something down the line, for us to know.
Okay. I'll definitely keep a lookout for it.
For sure, man. Anyway, have an awesome rest of your day, dude. Thanks so much for calling in.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, take care, dude.
Forrest Hazel, down the line.
Go down on the line by smashing that subscribe button. Hazel, I apologize. The last couple of calls I feel like have been something that's just, it's not really climate or economy related.
I don't know a dang thing about leaving a faith, not one. So I'm sorry I couldn't help too much with that last caller.
Oh, it's okay. I just don't want you to feel left out.
And then Paul, I just felt a little, I don't know. I'm too Canadian to be mean to a caller. I don't think I could do it.
How about we do this? How about we call out to the audience and go, audience, help us not waste Hazel's time tonight by sending super chat questions specifically about climate change and the economy, please.
That would be a great thing to do. Because we do have one more call, and it's another one that I'm somewhat confident that you're not going to be interested in. But like, who knows? Maybe this will be up your alley, and it'd be exciting. The last caller mentioned me talking about sex and gender, and that's what this next call is about binary sex. Are you excited, Hazel?
Just to preempt you, because I just heard this call the other day when I was making clips. This person has called in before with this, and it's it's going to be boring. Make it short.
No. It's we're gonna start in the right place, because this person
be biology. Is that what it is?
It's gonna be a little bit of biology, yeah.
It's gonna be repetition of cliches.
I'm sitting my ass down. I'm listening and learning.
It's not gonna be all biology. Here, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to open up this and this. So this person is Charles, who we talked to a little while. In fact, it was the last time that I was on, if I remember correctly. Charles called in to say, and I have the old call screen here, he said sex is binary and there are no exceptions. And at that time I was on with Dr. Ben Hamilton, and we were both pretty unequivocally gave the example that sex is a multivariate system. There's not a single solely determinate factor. There's tons of different factors that go into it. Not a single one of them is solely determinant of the system. And there's not a single factor that has only two options. So you have a bunch of different things going into it. Not a single one of them can either go this way or that way, but they actually have several different ways to go. And what you end up with is a situation here where sex is kind of this fuzzy gradient with definitely two major groups, with a continuum. Pardon me, I'm misspeaking it. It's definitely two groups with a continuum of variation between those two groups. I don't know why I was trying to say a varium of continuation. Fuck. That's what we were getting at. And where we left the call last time was that I put up, and let me just go ahead and open this.
Well, is it going to be the genderbread man? It's going to be the genderbread man. Guaranteed.
I had this up on the screen here, is this red to blue color gradient. And at the end of the call, right before we ended the call, I showed this gradient and I asked Charles, how many colors are here on the screen? And Charles said, I don't know why this is here either. Can I get rid of that? There we go. I asked Charles, how many colors are here on the screen? And Charles said, there's an infinite amount of colors. And I said, but wait a second. What Charles was saying for the entire call was, yeah, there's variation, but there's still male and female, and that means that it's binary, even though there's intersex people and all sorts of stuff in between. And so wouldn't you say that this is binary because there's blue and there's red, and this is just nonsense in the middle? Can we call this a binary? And after I pointed that out, Charles changed his tune and said, actually,
mental illness.
Exactly. Charles said, actually, no, yes, this is a binary, and that purple is actually red and blue, and therefore we can still call this a binary between red and blue. And at that time, Jimmy interrupted the call and said that Charles was being deliberately obtuse and pretending not to know what was going on, and he wasn't going to tolerate that. And so that's where the call ended.
In fairness, it had been like 50 minutes.
You ever get so transphobic that you get colorblind? I hate it when that happens to me personally.
It's wild. So that is where we are going to pick up the call. The reason why I gave this whole recap is because this is
not obtuse.
I appreciate the difference. This is exactly where we are going to pick up the call. That's why I explained all of this, because I wanted to be very clear how this went before and where this is going to go now. I'm now going to bring on Charles. And Charles, the question I have for you is what you're seeing on the screen a binary or not? Charles, you're on the line. How are you today?
Hey guys, hey Hazel, hey Forrest. Thanks for having me on again. Could you repeat the question? It got interrupted by the beep.
Yep, by all means. So here I've got on the screen the same color gradient that I showed you last time. It's red and blue with a gradient of color in the middle. Is this a binary of two colors?
It is a binary color spectrum, yes.
So what you just said is a binary spectrum. Do you know what the word oxymoron means, Charles?
So it seems like that, right? And the thing is that I put a lot of thought into our last conversation. I'm not coming into this just bullheaded again. I admit I had some shortcomings in my argument last time, and I was not fit to fully clarify as to why my stance was the way it was. So I'm very happy that you brought up the spectrum again, because we can both be right here. Okay.
I don't think so, but go on.
So what is the definition of binary?
Two exclusive options, two categories, no variation between them, 1 or 0.
And actually, it's worth noting that, by the way, the reason I'm jumping in is because I also want to propose just skip this call. I'm not going to hang up myself yet, but I wanted you to hang up as soon as he said, no, that's still a binary spectrum. But a binary actually not only concludes only two, it is in fact choice and choice negated. So the spectrum above that you think is a binary would have to be the two options are blue and not blue. Which would be a stupid thing to say. But anyway, do go on if you like with this, but I'm fine with just moving to super chats.
I'll be honest, I actually did also consider dropping the call when he said binary spectrum, because that's like jumbo shrimp or military intelligence. It just doesn't make any sense to say the two things. But I wanted to hear out for just at least a couple of minutes, and then we'll move on.
All right.
So please tell me how we can say something with... let me ask you this then, Charles. Are there more than two options when it comes to sex?
Are there more than two, such as the categories that we can put all human beings, right? So it's known as a Boolean quantity or a Boolean value. What that is that you're given, if you have ever seen The Matrix, red pill or blue pill, Neo, choose one. That is binary, but it's special because just as the cell is the fundamental basic unit of life in biology, Boolean quantities and Boolean values are the basic unit in binary notation, coding, and truth tables.
So it sounds like you're saying that if we change what we're talking about to a different kind of binary, that we can say that it's binary with this other meaning of the word binary that people generally don't mean when they say binary. But if we twist the word binary to mean this other kind, that's the kind of binary you mean. Is that what you're getting at here?
Well, binary just means composed of, related to, or derived from two things. You can check that right now. It's on there.
Yeah, I'm sure that is a meaning. Which two things is biological sex composed of or related to or all these things?
Oh, great. We'll cut right to the chase. Everyone indiscriminately was here from the fusion of a sperm and an egg, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Well, do you have a case where someone was not made from a sperm and an egg?
I said sure.
Oh, okay.
Just are you sure you want to, Forrest?
Just a little bit more.
Sure?
Just a little bit more. Just a little tiny bit more. Because I feel like I know where he's going with this.
Do we have you only until what's our time constraint? Is that
I've already said fuck it to my next appointment, so it's all good.
Okay. As long as we're not all right. Hey, I guess if you want. This guy is very excited that he went up in special pled and looked up special definitions and read other people's terrible arguments that he's here ready to repeat, as though this negates the actual large academic and scientific basis, because he thinks he's got a word problem and his use of binary is better than what actually would be the correct contextual binary in the sciences. But whatever, go ahead and keep doing it with him, Forrest. It's going to be fun.
I feel like I know where he's going with what he's saying. Well, I was going to say The Matrix was written by trans women, which is really funny. No, I feel like I know where he's going with this, and I want to see if it is just that silly. And then I also have one question for him, and then also one textbook that I'd like him to review for me. But yeah, go ahead now. What's going on?
Well, I'm just going to say this. You don't have to take my word for my definition. You can go and check there are many fields that are in general consensus as to what binary means. It's mathematics, engineering, computational science.
No, I get you. Right? I don't care. What do you mean about gametes now? What are you talking about? Go on with your next point.
Fusion of those gametes create P = 0 for any human being. That's the beginning of their life, right?
For humans, sure.
And so they inherit chromosomes from those gametes, and in the 23rd position of the karyotypical chart, there are your sex chromosomes. And how many different kinds are there? There's only an X and a Y, right? So for any person, no matter who you are, no matter how many chromosomes you have in that 23rd position, it is either an X or a Y in those sex chromosome positions, right? That's
okay,
binary,
so you're saying you either have an X or a Y, except for me, I have an X and a Y. So what does that mean?
Well, that's correct. We're talking about individual units, though. We said Boolean is an individual unit. So if we're going to go by your definition, where we only have two choices, we need to go by
it sounds to me like you're
chromosomes.
saying. It sounds to me like you're saying that sex is either you have a Y chromosome or not.
Wait, what?
It sounds like what you're saying is that you either have a Y chromosome or not. Because what you can't, if you're saying whatever's in that position is either X or Y, well, we all have a fucking X. So clearly that's not indicative of what's going on there.
Right.
You can say the second half of that, but you already said that it doesn't matter how many different numbers, because you can have XXY, or you could have X and nothing else, or you could have XXYY, or there's a bunch of different situations there. So it sounds like what you're saying is you either have a Y or you don't have a Y. Is that what you're actually driving at?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that in all those cases, what do they all have in common? You only observe two different types of sex chromosomes there. You see X and Y. We don't see a Z or a W or anything else, right?
Unless you're a bird. Unless you're a bird, and then you do have Z and W. So you're saying, just so I understand, you're saying that there's, are you saying that there's two sex chromosomes, and so the result of them doesn't matter? There's two of them, and therefore it's a binary? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, yes, that's your computer screen is also a binary system. You know that, right?
So then we're exactly where we were at the end of the last call when you said that purple is actually just red and blue, and therefore the spectrum on the screen is a binary. Is that's where we're at?
All right. Let me try and push past that.
No,
you're going to answer that question because it sounds like you've gotten absolutely nowhere. You've gone nowhere. You looked up new terrible ways to say the same thing you said last time we spoke. Ben and I pressed you and said, what is purple? Is purple red or is purple blue? Because if it's a binary, then it can either be red or blue. So is purple red or blue? And you said it's both things at the same time, and therefore it's binary. So you're telling me that because I have XY chromosomes, am both parts of the sex binary at the same time because I have both?
Huh?
You can have both as a binary.
No. One, the other, or both is not binary.
This is what I was trying to address. The definition of binary is
binary spectrum.
He said he learned since the last call and then repeated it. This is a person sitting here going, guys, I just called to brag about how stupid I am and why the implication of these arguments that I'm poorly repeating from my Googling this week are why I'm not going to simply respect people, trans people, and their ability to live their best fucking life because I'm sitting here feeling like, what does it have to do with trans people? Go fuck yourself. I'm dropping it now. Let's pretend that wasn't the end. I did it already. I'm not doing the
son of a
what
bitch.
does this have to do with trans people?
I had one more question.
I have to be up early, and I'm not doing the what does this have to do with trans issues as though this wasn't the absolute implication. I'm not going to be condescended to, and the audience be condescended to. Fuck Charles.
Goddamn. I do love that he was like, I've been studying this whole time. I've been really learning. And clearly what he did was he went out and learned a different type of binary thing, misrepresented what it was, and then he proved that he learned the word karyotype and gamete and shit. That's what he studied. Oh, damn it.
He's also wrong about his understanding of
what does this have to do with anything? That's
exactly.
my question. How does this negate the experience of trans people? Is this to prove non-binary people don't exist? I literally don't understand.
Well, he was talking last time he called in. He was arguing about biological sex, and he said that that sex is a strict binary. And we got through trying to make sense of the fact that sex and gender are different things. But what he kept getting back to was sex is binary
What
because
about
we've
intersex
named
people?
exactly. Because like he's like, well, we have men and women, and yeah, there's some stuff in between, but they're just a blend of either a man or a woman, and so therefore it's either one or the other. And what we showed him was that color gradient. You can go watch the video, it's insane. We showed him that color gradient, and we were like, what color is this? And he said, well, it's red and blue, therefore it's binary. And we're like, what color is purple? And he said red and blue at the same time. Therefore, it's binary because it's both red and blue. And it's like one, the other, or both is three things. That's not binary. And now his argument is, well, this different kind of binary means that it's comprised of two things. And therefore, we can use binary. And it's the same kind of shit as when you have a creationist call in and say, well, when we study quantum theory, there's this superpositioning and the moon isn't really there when no one's looking at it. And this quantum entanglement is really what we mean when we say God. That's what God is, as if that's what fucking anybody actually talks about when they talk about their religion. Okay. Go ahead, Hazel. What's up?
I got one question. Okay, so everything on my screen is made up of ones and zeros, right? Are you a one or are you a zero? Which one? Exactly. I gotta know.
Right. You have to be one or the other. And it's like fucking
you have to be one or zero.
That's what gets me fucking up a wall. Is that like,
which are you?
By making these fucking weird little caveats and addendums and trying to play these apologetic games with your bizarrely parochial worldview, all you're doing is making this new fucking twisted reality that nobody on your team believes in, so that you can try to make the fact that more than two things exist actually sound like just two things in some weird quantum superposition soup. And it like
only two things exist.
Right. My question
are spin up and spin down.
You should be cautious yelling on the internet, are you a one or a zero, referring to internet or computer binary, as you are literally asking if something is turned on or turned off. You'd probably want to avoid that on the interwebs.
I was gonna ask him. I was gonna ask him a couple of things. I was gonna be real fucking condescending, and I was gonna ask him to read this textbook over here and tell. Oh fuck, that's not where this is. This quick chapter. There we go. I was gonna ask him to read this part of this textbook here. Let me see if I can scoot this page over a little bit. Nope. That like that maybe, and then like this. Get that in the middle of the screen, and a little bit more. Like fuck, like no fuck, like that. Yes, I was gonna see if maybe he would read this part right here that says, the biochemical, physiological, and anatomical features of males and females are turning out to be more complex than previously realized. With many genes involved in the development, we now know that sex is not a binary state with just two defined outcomes. Because of the complexity of the genes and proteins involved in sex determination, many variations exist. And then it talks about intersex people, and it talks about trans people, and it ends with the sentence, sex determination is an active area of research that should yield a more sophisticated understanding in years to come. And I was going to ask him if maybe that, just being in a biology textbook, maybe changed his mind even just a little bit. And then if that also didn't do anything, I was also going to ask him if he could provide me, because this is the thing that I'm trying to see right now from all the gender criticals and transphobes and sex binary people and all these things. I just want to know, can you give me a definition of man or of woman, or indeed of male and female? Because if you say man or woman, they'll just say, oh, it means male or it means female. You're just to kick the can down the road. Give me a definition of male or female that, one, includes, let's say male. What's the definition of male that includes all cisgendered men and all transgendered women, excludes all cisgendered women and all transgendered men, and is purely based on physical characteristics? If you can come up with that,
name a woman.
For $1, name a woman. If you can give me that, you may have an argument. But as it stands, chromosomes, hormones, internal anatomy, external anatomy, pick your fucking favorite. There isn't a single one of them that you can apply to all cisgendered men and all transgender women that does not apply to all cisgendered women and all transgender men. You can't fucking do it. that just isn't out there.
I stand by
as far
dropping
as
the
I know.
call because even after dropping the call, you've gone on for an additional 9 minutes. And as I've mentioned, I have to be up early in the morning. I have a recreational colonoscopy to go to.
Complain about it.
That was a joke. That was a joke. Recreational colonoscopy. I already had one this year. They're not recreational. No,
that's why this one's recreational.
Yeah, this one's for
Yeah,
fun.
exactly. It's just a bonus.
This one's for me. I'm feeding the camera myself.
Sick.
Ah, fuck. Yeah, let's do super chats then. Yeah. By all means. The show has been mostly me rambling.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Everyone send super chats for Hazel and about climate change.
Please
do you do general economic stuff? Because I've mostly seen you do economy related to climate change. But are you also a general economist?
I do general. I'm not an economist in the way that Forrest is, and scientist. But I know a whole lot about it, and
economist?
Yeah,
that joke is great.
I shan't be caught dead doing economics. But I do general economics stuff and debunk the claims that poor people having money would be bad for the economy. Fixing climate change would be bad for the economy. So yeah, any of that shit sure.
See, Forrest, she said, I'm not an economist the way Forrest is a scientist. And then I said, oh, so you're a good economist, implying that you're a bad scientist.
I mean, in all fairness,
thought that you were implying that the only good economist is an economist I thought you were roasting economists. And I was like, as you should. But,
I was roasting
that's
my
all right.
friend.
You were roasting Forrest.
It was fine. Yeah, it was a little.
In all fairness, you can very easily go to Twitter and find all sorts of people who think that I need to return my degrees because I'm so fucking terrible. That's because that's the thing you do. Whenever someone disagrees with you wholeheartedly, you can just
degree.
For real. I get some money back for that. Yeah, that'd be great because I already know the shit.
Let me hook you up with Dr. Ben's. Yeah. Private messages sometimes. You're getting off easy. Jesus Christ, the things people say to Dr. Ben. Anyway, here's super chats.
Hey, look at that, a super chat. Who's reading these? Are you reading these? Am I reading these? Is Jimmy reading these? What are we doing?
Is your favorite president reading these? Just kidding. I want to do that.
$5 from Denver Arnold. What's your favorite and or weirdest name for a group of animals? For example, my favorite is a group of bunny. Oh, I see. Okay, a group of. I thought you meant like taxonomy. I was going to say chiropterians are pretty cool because it sounds like chiropractors. Man,
like a murder
ferrets.
Of crows. Is that the question?
Yeah. Ferrets. Ferrets is definitely.
Wait. I know ferrets. Wait. Don't tell me. Is it a business?
It is a business. A business of ferrets.
Yes. That's also my favorite because it's one of the only ones I know.
I think that there should be better ones. I think that you should have like a fuck of weasels. A fuck of weasels would be fine. An asshole of frogs.
I think a group of any animals is a fuck of elephants. A fuck of Yeah, you could throw the word load and fuck load, but
do you know what a group of elephants is actually called? Because you mentioned elephants. It's
I
really
believe
great.
it is a pod.
No, nope. It's a memory. A group of elephants is called a memory. Do you want to know what a group of hippopotamuses are called?
Sure.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A bloat. They're literally fat-shaming hippos. That's the world we live in.
That's awful.
I
thought it was a pod to go along with whales and things. I was
Do you know that we, as three, joined by an audience of however many people, could technically be called a shrewdness because that is what a multiplicity of apes is called?
A shrewdness of apes.
That's
shrewdness. That gives apes a lot of credit, I think.
Yeah.
Is there not one for humans?
Oh,
that's
assholes.
Fuckload. That's where fuckload should be. Yeah. I would take an assload or an asshole of humans. That would be an asshole of humans. I think just load.
It's usually in the
we should leave it on just make it even more. Just I've got this is a hot load of lizards. You know what I mean?
Wait, I got it.
Yeah.
Wad. Thank you.
A wad. A wad of wombats would be great. I'd be all over that.
Up a ton more.
Yeah, a wad of wombats is better.
What do you reckon a group of crocodile are called?
A clamp.
A gator.
It's a float.
Okay.
A float. Yeah, that's fine. That's their. I don't like them.
5 out of 10.
I don't like them anymore.
Wait, let's rate them. Let's keep rating them, and we'll rate them.
Yeah, elk apparently not only travel in herds but also in gangs.
Yeah, it's a hard life
6
on
out
the
of
street
10.
for the elks.
I'm imagining them having guns.
Yeah.
You know what one I think kind of sucks? Because there just got to be a better animal. Like, I think penguins deserve this, but emus travel in mobs. They are a mob of emu.
Oh man, if emu meet elks, it'll be a turf war.
A gang and a mob, and then you throw in like a cunt of kangaroos as well, or something. Just, like, I don't know, man.
Think that's what that's called.
That's what it is. That's what it should be.
I just looked. It is a troop of kangaroos.
That's
we'd like
a
to
terrible
apologize for the casual sexist. No, I'm just kidding. I love that word. I need it to.
It's a
great
great
stick
word.
around. I try to never use it for actual women.
Right? If you ever call somebody that's a different story. But it is a very funny word by itself.
Yeah. It's like the word bitch. You can't call a woman a bitch, but you can sure say it. That's fine.
For sure.
Yeah. Which
I
of the
found
two
my
genders are
favorite one.
you? Are you a gang or a mob?
I'm a bitch.
Which of the two genders?
I found my favorite one,
Nice.
and I think you're gonna like it. What do you reckon a group of magpies is called?
Oh fuck! I knew this one.
Can that one be a bitch? Just a bitch of magpies?
Just a whole bitch of magpies.
That sounds good.
It is a tittering.
Ugh.
It's all right. That's good.
It has tits
It could have just
in
been a
it. What
tit.
the fuck?
It could have just
like
been a
mob
tit
better.
of magpies.
But tits
What
are
if
a different type of bird.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's a
that
tit
would
of-
be even better. A tittering of tits.
But a memory of elephants is also stupid. So just call it a tit of magpies.
But you know
that's what I'm
why
saying.
they picked
They're all-
memory, right?
Language is a growing and fluid thing, and we could do whatever we want.
Yeah.
A descent of woodpeckers, a wisdom of wombats, a route or root, depending on who you are, of wolves, a gam of whales, a gang of weasels, a pledge of wasps, a venue of vultures. How many more of these?
Somebody in the chat put a can of dolphin.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
That hurts my heart.
That's great. That's great.
All right, I'm reading chat too. It's the dumb fuckery of humans. I'm for that.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good. It is not a minge of squirrels. Is that real? Hang on, let me see what's on my list. No, that's a dray or a scurry. How dare you with your fake news?
Next super chat. This is the $5 super chat. We're going for 30 minutes.
This is the one that I would have done all
$5
night. Okay, last one. What do you think a swan is? A group of swans.
A grace. A
So
neck.
when in
good.
flight, they are a wedge, but when not in flight, they can be either a bevy or this is my favorite, and why I want to be a swan, they are a lamentation of swans.
Ah, I've heard lamentation. Yep.
That's poetic.
A lamination.
That's poetic.
I do a lot of lamenting. That sounds like the group for me. Anyway, here's more. I'm sorry. This was my fault.
Hey, PhD Tony is the guy who called in earlier. Sent $5. If any of your viewers have biology jargon fetish, you're going to need tarpaulin. Tarpaulin. Is this a drug that I'm not familiar with? It's probably something that I know for sure, and I'm just seeing it written out for the first time, and I look like a fucking idiot right now whenever Forrest is hosting. Yo, I'm going to look up what that is and regret it.
It's a
and
tart.
Then also,
it's a tart.
Oh,
That's what tart is short for.
I Googled it too. Oh, boy.
that is just a tarp. Is this how they say tarp in fucking Australia?
It's just the long
Just say
version of
tarp.
the word.
Look, I don't want to fucking think about the fact that some person is out there rubbing themselves silly while I'm sitting here throwing out Latin and Greek prefixes. I don't want the TARP implications to haunt my career.
That's why you can't see my hands on the screen, actually. Sorry.
I want to be your best friend. I really do. I want to hang out. I want to go antique shopping together. Jesus Christ.
1999 from Logan Locke. Appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. God. $5 from Noah Crowley. How would you suggest handling when close ones? I thought I said close ones. I'm like, who are you closing? How would you suggest handling when close ones just know that creationism is true and climate change is a hoax? What we do on this show is try to remind them of all the other people who just know that contradictory opinions are true. So whenever somebody calls in and says, I believe in the Bible because it says in the Bible to believe in the Bible and the Bible's true, and I feel it in my heart and I had this experience and blah, 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 we just remind them that there's a million Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists and people, Zoroastrians, ancient Aztecs believing in Quetzalcoatl and everybody else could all said the exact same fucking thing. How do you know that you're right and they're wrong when you have the exact same experience and the exact same reason for believing? My big thing is to dig into whether or not faith is a reliable way to find out anything about anything. What good is a worldview that will allow you to believe absolutely anything? Is there any proposition that you can't accept based on faith? No. Is there any proposition that you can't accept based on skepticism? Most propositions cannot be accepted based on skepticism. So which one's more reliable? Which one's more trustworthy? Do you have any tips?
I simply have nothing for the climate change because for me, again, like if it's a close, I guess it depends on what kind of a close one. Like if it's a brother or something, just bully the shit out of them for not believing all of the science and all of the oil companies and everything. But if it's like your mom, I don't know what to tell you. Just revel in the knowledge that most people believe what is true. That's all I got.
I think the faster version of what Forrest was saying would be to just go, okay, I just know that you're wrong. So now we've contradicted each other. How do we filter that?
Now what?
How do we figure out who's right?
Yeah, but have you considered that they're the center of the universe?
Yeah. Don't forget, solipsism is real, y'all.
Look at the trees.
$5 from Living Pterodactyl Immurement. Therefore, Squawk. It's a whole long thing. I was trying to figure out this the whole name. I'm going to call you Living Pterodactyl, sir. $5 from the Pterodactyl. Water, fire, air, and dirt. Fucking magnets. How do they work? And I do. I love that. Love that.
You know that what
I feel like there's got to be more to this question.
No, it's that's lyrics from an Insane Clown Posse song.
Okay.
Are those the actual lyrics?
I think so.
Yeah, I've seen that on TikTok. Fucking magnets, how do they work?
I've seen the meme. I knew it was from that. I didn't know those were the actual water, fire,
I
air,
didn't know
and
it was
dirt.
Insane Clown Posse.
Magnets. How do they work?
I don't want to talk to a scientist because all
the motherfuckers is lying and getting me pissed.
Yeah.
I have heard that. Oh my God. The memories are flooding back to me from fucking middle school. That's great. $10 from Hippocrates. I suffered a long time with saying this is a sin, strong desire to pray. So what I did is started praying. Did it cut off, or is that where the chat ends?
I think they're all cutting off, man.
Wait, let me see.
What?
I just started praying to... Oh, it is longer on this one. Why is this happening? To the stove.
It doesn't have an end quote.
Or to living people, or my favorite video games character. Thanks all. I'll see if I can figure out why it did that.
I think that's the last one. It said, and I do. I bet it was the rest of the lyric. And I don't want to talk to a scientist. There you go. Yeah. All I did was start praying to the stove or living people. Oh, fuck. Yeah, hey.
Yeah. Hey, there we go.
And he ended it with "Go Jimmy yourself." Love it. This is way better. This is a way better situation.
Tight.
Hazel, did you just fart on air?
No, I uncrossed my legs. I hope that helps.
Okay if you farted. No, it just looked very. It looked like I knew you weren't setting up a fart because you wouldn't so blatantly be obviously setting up a fart the way it looked like.
Not without charging for it.
I just can't sit in a chair now. That's all.
I have to have a variety of squishes so that I don't because I can't just sit in this little ass chair.
Yeah, I've been sitting on this chair like a normal person for this whole time, and I'm like, I can't do it. I'm just gonna sit.
Yeah,
weird.
I'm in this little fucking confined corner of my office in this tiny bitch of a chair right now, and it's you hear it? How rattly it is? Yeah, no, I feel your pain, dog.
Yeah, this is rough. Anyway, I didn't fart. I just can't sit in a chair. I hope that makes sense.
We charge for that kind of content, is what I'm saying. Like, we can make money off of that.
Yeah,
I suffered a long time saying
$20 super chat.
This is a sin and a strong desire to pray. What I did was started praying to the stove or to living people of my favorite video game characters. That's all. I mean, fuck, dude. It's like people who use carrot sticks to break smoking habits because you have to be putting something in your mouth. If it works for a minute as an intermediate phase, just don't keep doing it. That's the whole point.
I mean, I think also like introspection isn't wrong. It's just the feeling bad for the sin part, you know?
Yeah. Someone in the chat said that I have the trans gaming chair. I got rid of the trans gaming chairs, actually. Not because they were trans gaming chairs, because I had no place to fucking put them, and I bought better desk chairs. Just not this one. I just haven't replaced this one yet. You know what they're talking about. The same gaming chair that everybody has. Yeah. And apparently it's like a trans thing too.
Where are your little patios though?
I could be like Finster over here.
Yeah, you gotta get patios.
Tight. 999. Did we skip one? Or were we done with that one? Was the last one about the praying? Okay. 999 from Newman. For Paul, 99.99% proof Jesus will not come back for climate change or anything else. He hasn't come back for any other war or natural disaster over the past 2,000 years. He won't come back now just cause. $5 from Noah Crowley. Charles missed the obvious example. Qubits are on some probabilistic spectrum, but when we measure them, they always collapse them into a binary. There you go. That's something that's lots like of things, unless you're looking at it. Just like gender. Everybody is every gender all the time until they put on pants. And then they collapse into one of the two genders. $5 from Jamie. That's what does it. And then you fall. You just collapse into a state of solid gender. Electron. $5 from Jamie the Dino Boy. My family claims that being transgender is a religion. How could I refute this? And what studies could I cite to show that being trans is backed by science? So I've stopped trying to give people to look at studies because there's the literature is out there where people talk about trans people, and what ends up happening is someone's going to say, well, who's funding the study and who's this is some liberal Marxist university or what, who's it, or this is all their world, or they're part of the religion of wokeness too, and so they're publishing about this. I like to pull out actual goddamn science textbooks now. That's kind of been my modus operandi for a little while. I pulled out that one a little while ago. This is another one of my favorites. Anytime anybody tries to hit me with the basic biology claim, this is my actual genetics textbook from college, from my first biology degree. I got this one here, and this is from a 4,000 level genetics course at Northeastern State University, and it has this is from chapter 4 on sex and gender. It goes on about, so this is chapter 4.1. Sex is determined by a number of different mechanisms. That's where I started my gambit with Charles about how, you have a multivariate system without a single one solely determinate, blah, blah, blah. This is the final paragraph in this. Gender is not the same as sex. Biological sex refers to the anatomical and physiological phenotype of an individual. Gender is a category assigned by the individual or others based on behavioral and cultural practices. One's gender need not coincide with one's biological sex. Being trans is biological science. It's something that we account for. It's something that we can test and measure. It's something that is not considered a religion or a mental issue. It's just a part of human variation.
Yeah, but that's the Bible of the religion of wokeism. Have you considered?
Is genetics textbooks?
That's
yes.
their Bible.
The religion of wokeism studies genetics. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you say level 4,000, by the way?
I said it's a 4,000 level course, yes.
Like fourth year?
How do you do all those levels?
Yeah, how did you get through the first 3,999?
That's so many.
I don't know if either of you are serious, but for people in the chat who might not know, when you look at a college course, it's going to have a number code at the end of it, so it's going to be like anatomy 3891 or whatever like that. Generally speaking, the last number in that sequence is how many credit hours it's worth, and the first number in that sequence is like how fucking difficult it is, like what level of education you're at. So if you're in an introductory course going for your, like if you're a freshman in college, you're taking 1,000 level courses, they all start with a 1. So you have like, English 1113 or whatever like that is like your introductory comp 1, and it's for 3 credit hours. It's a 1,000 level course, and that's comp 1, the first English class you take in college. Meanwhile, if you're past an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, you're going to take 3,000, 4,000 level courses. If you're in graduate school, you're going to take 5, 6, and 7,000 level courses. If you're a doctoral student, you might take like higher, maybe like a 9,000.
Please just read the next super chat. We don't need to.
You could have just said, how 101 is level 1? I'm at level 4. That's all. You're good. We get it.
Well, I'm just saying, next semester, I'm trying to take a 7,000 level epigenetics course because it's fucking cool, right? Like that's
anyway. Everything he just said, he has done 6,999 levels so far in Scientology, and that's why he gets to do 7,000 now. All right, go ahead. On to the next.
$14.99 in Armenian money. Cameron Richardson, Hazel. I don't care what it is. I just say I picked an A. It's Hazel. What advice do you have for talking about climate change to family who believe that it's all made up and just a pointless endeavor? Also, any resources would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's kind of what I did with our best friend Paul. Guys, remember Paul? We love Paul. Where it was just kind of like, okay, let's say we don't believe in CO2 up in the atmosphere heats up the planet. Sounds made up. It's not. Everybody agrees, but whatever. Let's set that aside for a second. Why wouldn't we want the air to be cleaner? Why wouldn't we want fewer people to die? Why wouldn't we want to be more, I don't know, in the case of clean energy, like why wouldn't we want to be more energy independent? Generally, the things that combat climate change make our lives better in other ways. And so just saying that, this is a Marxist conspiracy to take away our fossil fuels is like, no, it's to replace the fossil fuels with something better, just like we did replacing fire with coal, with fossil fuels, we can replace it again with something better. Why don't we just do it? Yeah. You don't have to believe in some big conspiracy or not. It's all sort of no-brainer stuff that we've been told is a big conspiracy because of big oil money, but whatever. Resources. I think for you, I might recommend All We Can Save, which is just a bunch of essays that are, a little bit realistic, but also optimistic kind of about climate change and talking about it. I think, it's not so much with the climate science though.
I love that. There's like a political cartoon, and it was like this major, like this convention of climate scientists, and one guy stands up and says, "Yeah, what if this is all a hoax and we just make the world better for no reason?"
That was going through my mind while I was talking to Paul. I was like, how do I say this cartoon to him?
Right. I just want somebody who believes that this is, Marxist or whatever. I just want them to just to define Marxism or socialism or communism. Just name a Marxist.
It's when the government does stuff.
That's the first the first ever show. That's exactly. The socialism is when the government does stuff, and when the government does a lot of stuff, then it's communism. The first ever show that I ever did in the atheist sphere was actually Dave Warnock's show. He did the That GD show with Genevieve, and that was the thing we talked. It was like, this is socialism. What's socialism? Socialism is when the government does things that aren't war, and it's like that's where the thought process stops. Fucking $9.99 from Bobby Jenko. Hey, Forrest, you big snack. I don't like that. Hey, Forrest, you big snack. I hope Jimmy gives you some money for food this week. He feeds me in the basement every now and then. He just throws down something for me. Thanks for inspiring me to switch my major to biology. Protein structure is awesome. By the way, thanks for your work, Hazel. Protein structure is fucking awesome. It's radical to think about the fact that the tertiary and quaternary structures that you get out of proteins are all just because of like the basic laws of chemistry that are attached. Oh, fuck. It's cool.
We've got so many left.
$14.99 in Albanian dollars. Cameron Richardson. Forrest, could true hermaphroditic animals be described as being intersex? No. Or would use the term intersex leave out key differences between the two? And if so, what are the differences? So when we talk about animals, so first of all, when we use the word hermaphroditic, we are only talking about non-human animals. The term hermaphrodite or hermaphroditic or whatever like that is actually a derogatory when talking about intersex peoples because these are so different things. So when we talk about intersex in terms of people, we are talking about people who fall between the two named sexes. And that's why you'll see, like, when you look at I've read the World Health Organization's page on gender and health several times on this show, and they say men, women, and intersex people. They add that third category because these are people who fall. It's a blanket term for a wide variety of different ways that sex can be rearranged, of what we call differences in sexual development. All fall under this umbrella of being intersex. Whereas hermaphrodism in animals specifically refers to the state of all the individuals of one species specifically being born with both sets of genitalia, both types of gametes, both whatever it is for what's going on with their species. So yeah, that hermaphrodism is generally speaking, is actually like the condition of a species, whereas intersex is talking about individuals and a variety of differences of sex determination. $5 from Pterodactyl Man again. Hazel, thought on climate engineering.
All right. Climate engineering. Oh, man, I don't know. It's been a really hot topic lately, and I keep going back and forth on it. I wish I could give you a certain yes or no. So I guess for context, everybody else, climate engineering, the name escapes me. But it's the idea of the world is getting too hot, so let's put some shit into the atmosphere to cool it down. And geoengineering. And there are so many ways that it could go wrong. And also it's kind of a geopolitical snafu because it's like what country specifically has the right to decide if the whole world cools down or not. I don't know. There's so many things where it's like, could it give us a few more years to figure our shit out? Maybe, but there's so many things in between that and currently where who gets to decide? Are we sure it's not going to fuck us up forever? Are we sure? How sure? Et cetera, et cetera. That I simply, my thoughts are, whoa, isn't it just easier to do a green transition? No, but we should probably try. Yeah, that's what I got. Hey, Forrest, you got any thoughts on geoengineering, man?
It reminds me a lot of when we talk about like conservation ecology, where we can be conservationists in this ecosystem and try to rehabilitate it. But the question is where are you taking it to? How long ago is your metric for when this ecosystem is where you want it to be? Is it 20 years ago before we had urban sprawl? Or is it 120 years ago before humans got there in the first place? Or is it 1,000 years ago when it was a totally different fucking ecosystem? Because you could totally make it back to that. And so that's kind of the issue when it comes to ecology is where are we actually trying to get to? Talk about climate engineering, we could spray chemicals in the atmosphere or put up big carbon capture things or do this or that and the other. Like you said, there's moral implications to what we're doing for the rest of the world. But where are we trying to get things? Are we trying to get it to 30, 40 years ago when things were a little bit more stable? Are we trying to get things before the Industrial Revolution? Are we trying to get things, way back to the very beginning of this, the interglacial period, a couple thousand years ago? Where are we actually trying to go, and what's the goal, and why is the argument that you would have to make? For me, all right, I'm just for better. I'm just for better. You know what I mean? Just better. Yeah, just better than this.
Just we don't have to, guys. Let's just make it better. I don't know. Yeah.
Just better.
Did you all see the episode of Futurama where they were solving climate change by a mirror? The mirror that points out into space, and then somebody actually proposed that for our Earth. Like somebody stole Futurama's space mirror for climate change and was seriously proposing it. Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know the one with the space mirror. The only one I know is where they fucking drop an ice cube into the Pacific Ocean every year, and everything's fine. It's fine.
I'm hiring you losers to get the ice.
I think that's the one. Where it begins.
Okay.
And then they end up solving climate change by the way that actually wouldn't solve climate change, which is moving the Earth slightly further away. That literally wouldn't solve climate change at all. You have to move it way further away. Like past Mars. Anyway, maybe not past Mars. I made that part up, but pretty far.
Someone's getting some Snapchat notifications over there.
That's me. Yeah, it's people telling me to stop sending my nudes.
Don't. Establish dominance. Send them again. $9.99.
Photoshop their face onto your nude.
That's what it's all about. Just on the head of your penis, just put a little crop of their head right there.
Yeah. You guys took it way further than me.
That's what we're here for, Jimmy. $9.99 from Gnome. Hazel, would it be more eco-friendly to make things from metals like brass or aluminum versus plastics? Things like luxury pens or other artsy trinkets. Love you both. Love both you and Forrest. Go Jimmy yourself, Jimmy.
Yo, okay. I'm gonna assume you're asking in general. If you're asking for yourself, I'll get to that at the end of my rant. I have a rant. My turn to rant. Finally. Okay. Yes. Listen. So, is it more eco-friendly to make things out of metals? Well, it depends. How are you heating up the metals? Are you using some sort of renewable energy that can heat up metals enough that you can bend it, or are you probably using coal? Is the carbon from that coal captured? Are you using natural gas? Who's to say? Who knows? On a global scale, these are all the questions we need to ask. And then, of course, plastics are, there's not a lot of emissions that go into making plastic, but then they exist forever in our bloodstreams, in the ocean. But they're technically not contributing to climate change. So is that better than emitting a bunch of emissions while you're burning fossil fuels to make your metal? Who's to say? What we need to do is consume less, and also less single-use plastic is always good. And then if you're saying on an individual scale, I feel like environmentalism has been taken over by the idea of the individual needs to do this. If you make your shit out of plastic, bad. It's all your fault. And when your grandchildren are a pile of ashes, it's your fault. And that has been a distraction for literally decades, when the big problem is that there's no good option for where to get our fucking luxury pens and trinkets and shit. There's no good option. It all contributes to climate change because, the fossil fuel companies and their PR teams hid climate change for decades and profited off of it. Thank you. Good day. I don't know is my answer.
That's the biggest thing that I have to worry about. Like, people are like, "Oh, well, what are you recycling? Are you driving a hybrid? Are you doing this?" And it's like, I could literally never even fart for the rest of my life. Like, no carbon emissions ever again. And the amount that would save is what would be done by the top 100 corporations in literally a second. One fucking celebrity flying their private jet across the Atlantic again would be that. It'd be done. It'd be my whole life's worth of carbon emissions.
Yeah. None of this shit matters. I mean, it matters in the grand scheme of things. Like, if everybody stopped eating meat or something, sure, great, problem solved. Yeah. But we can't do that because meat is cheaper than a salad. Okay, whatever. I think I'm looking at myself in the webcam, and I think I got noticeably redder during that. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think I did.
It is what it is. It's only on the internet forever.
It is what it is.
It's only 1,000 people. It's fine. $20. No, I do the same thing. My cheeks fluctuate as I get more and less hyphy. $20 from Godfrey N. Good. Hazel, back in the 70s, I was taught that we were headed towards another ice age. Did scientists have it wrong back then?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think as the scientist, you would have the better answer for it. But yeah, my understand. Why am I so red?
Significantly more red now. Significantly more red.
Not too mad, everybody. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Sick. What? Did scientists have it wrong back then? They just didn't have the data set. They saw that the world was cooling down slightly. They saw all the shit we were putting in the air. They were like, maybe it's that. Okay, Forrest, you go.
Well, I would say also, like, the other issue is that we are always in a fluctuation. Right now, we're in an interglacial period. The whole idea is that there will be another ice age in the future. It's just how long will it take to get there? This is one of the biggest arguments that people get all the time. It's like, well, the climate naturally changes, and there will be an ice age pretty soon anyway. So it doesn't, there's always natural fluctuation in climate change. And like, yes, that's called Milankovitch cycles. Milankovitch cycles are these huge patterns of climate change over, either tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands, maybe like a million years. And Milankovitch cycles have 3 segments to them. Those are precession, obliquity, and eccentricity. And I can go over all those if you want, but nobody wants me to. But like, the point is, eccentricity, obliquity, and precession, those 3 variables, like I said a second ago, take tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of years to change. And yes, we see glacial versus interglacial period because of it. And yes, when we look over the whole climate history of the world, it isn't just a straight up and down. It kind of wiggles up and down and this way based on other factors of environmental chemistry and atmospheric chemistry. And that has there's biological effects of that. There was the whole snowball Earth thing a couple of billion years ago where photosynthesis made the sky blue and made the whole fucking Earth freeze. Like, there was a lot of shit there over the history of the planet. The bottom line is that shit takes hundreds of thousands to millions of years. What's happening now is taking a couple of decades, and that is fucking scary. So, like, yes, there's natural climate change. That has nothing to do with anthropogenic climate change, which is real and terrifying, and we need to take care of it while we still have the option to take care of it. So, like, that's the thing that I always look at when people talk about those things.
The way that it works is like, the sort of, we're in the Holocene, which is a very, very stable period of temperature. It kind of goes like this. And then, we're worried about this for a second. And then it's like, it's not, you can't even compare it. Everybody saw my tummy a little bit there, but that's all right. It's not really comparable. And also the Holocene is the only time when humans have been around. So the fact that we're already out of the scale of the Holocene, who's to say? Anyway, I guess that's why they call it the Anthropocene. Hey, how do you pronounce it? Do you say Anthropocene or Anthropocene?
Anthropocene. You hard O, but the same cadence as the second one, but Anthropocene, yeah. Because anthro is the root, so you could say Anthropocene if you want. It wouldn't be wrong, but I usually say Anthropocene because
on this.
All right. I'm just curious. Everybody says it's different. All right, let's go. I don't.
Californian dollars. Yeah, 10 Californian dollars from Monster in Head. As per the NIH, gendered gray matter is a secondary sex characteristic. Would that make trans women like myself intersex? Question from Allison. I don't know, actually, because when it comes to sex differences in the central nervous system, it's kind of a wiggly, weird thing where either you have a debate about what the data actually say, or you have a debate about what the data actually mean, or you have a debate about the semantics of what you're talking about. So, like, for example, there's Robert Sapolsky, who's a famous neurobiologist and neuroendocrinologist from Stanford University. He has a bunch of lectures online where he talks about the neurobiology of trans people and explains that trans women literally have, female specific neural architecture, and their brains say that they're women, and trans men, their brains say that they're men. And he says in those videos, in those lectures, if you ask me how to gender somebody and you give me their genitalia or their brain, I'm going to go with what their brain says. And And then there's a lot of people out there that say, yeah, but really there's no actual boy brain versus girl brain thing. And these sex differences are either so small or not specifically tested for, or they don't account for puberty, or they don't account for this or that or the other thing. So really it's kind of up in the air. This is just a question that's a little bit above my pay grade in terms of like what I can actually give a detailed answer on. I would just say you can look up a lot of really great neuroscientists like Sapolsky, who I'll put on right now. I'll put him on the chat.
But you're also addressing the wrong part of the question, because the question would actually be whether or not having opposing secondary sex characteristics makes a person intersex, which I am pretty sure the answer is no.
No.
For example, there are men who develop more female-like breast tissue. They get boobs from different hormone things, and they don't become intersex for that either. It is primary sex characteristics, I believe, is the actual category for intersex people.
So here's a snippet. This is a short snippet. This one is called The Neurobiology of Transsexuality. Transsexuality is kind of an outdated term, but it is a 2-year-old video. And then here's a much, much longer one. It was about a 45-minute video or 50-minute video where he actually gives a lot of details. This is a lecture that he was giving over Zoom, it looks like. So you can, and this is about brain gender. And then this one, he talks a lot more about the gender spectrum in terms of neurobiology. So I would watch those videos. You're going to hear it a lot better from him because he is a professor of neuroanatomy and neuroscience, whereas I am just a fucking dumbass who happens to have some degree studying biology and likes humans a lot. So I would watch those. And you're right. Secondary sex characteristics wouldn't make you intersex. I appreciate you calling that out, as I missed that when I was reading it with my face. $10 from Aubrey.
Gray matter is a secondary sex characteristic. That's crazy. That's
I didn't
nuts.
even hear what you said.
I just the gray matter being a secondary sex characteristic is just what anyway. That's all right.
I don't
That's
even know
right.
what
It's
that would
above
look
my
like.
pay grade.
That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing that I'm not even familiar with how that would be possible.
That's what it is.
But I'll
Yours
look
is
into it.
flat.
I'll see what I can find. I'll see what I can figure out. $10 from, because I only use the term gray matter. I'm talking about spinal cords anyway, but it doesn't matter. $10 from Aubrey. What do you call a 7-foot-tall mythical creature that's covered in hair, lives in the Himalayas, and undermines your argument by attacking your character? An ad hominemable snowman. Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. That's
for you. Since we're telling dad jokes, joke for you. What's the difference between cancer and me? What's the difference between me and cancer?
What?
I'll answer myself. I get fuck. My parents didn't beat cancer. $8 from Allison Lydell. As per the NIH, this is where we're back. Did we do this already?
I was queuing up an air horn. Is why I didn't answer. Wait. Say the punchline again.
The punchline was that my parents didn't beat cancer.
He's making a joke about getting beaten as a child.
Yeah, I know.
All right, moving on.
I think she was still trying to make the air horn. I think she was trying to make the air horn work.
Yeah, it's fine.
But $5 from Tactical Glue Eater. Just want to say, first time seeing this live and also sending money. Why do people tell Jimmy to go F himself? Jimmy, go pleasure yourself.
Not because you told me to, unless you put on a tone and maybe dress like my dad, and then I might. But other than that,
you have to pay a little bit more if you want to command him to go pleasure himself.
Yeah, $5 ain't gonna cut it. Why do people tell Jimmy to go fuck himself? That's my question.
Oh, it's an old meme on the channel at this point. I'm not very comfortable being complimented, and we would get so many super chats that would be like, Jimmy, you're the best, blah blah blah, and I would get weird, and so I at one point was like, I'd really prefer if you all said like, go fuck yourself, and then it became a meme.
Oh, I like that. All right.
We're back to this one. We already did this one. And then we had the person saying secondary socks characteristics. We got $10 from Is Jail. How do you refute the climate change is real, but it's not due to humans camp? I have atheist but extremely conservative friends and family. I don't understand that combination. I would say, yeah, we already covered that a minute ago. Unless you have something extra, Hazel, is that Milankovitch cycles.
Yeah, show them and then how the fact that it goes like that. I'm not going to show everybody my tummy again, but and how could that be anything other than the fact that humans taken over the world? I guess unless you want to believe that it's God punishing us for sinning. I don't know. That's like the second. There's the most plausible one is humans. The second most plausible one is God punishing us. Third most plausible, solar flares. So I don't know.
Let's see here. Is it this one? Nope. I think it's this one. Yes. I'm pretty sure this video, let me copy this one. This is a Reacteria video of mine, and I'm 99% sure I go over Milankovitch cycles in a little bit of detail here because a couple of creationists are saying that climate change isn't real and that the Ice Age was just the flood. $5 from Chris. $5 from Chris Carrillo. What are practical things I can do in my day-to-day that help reverse climate change? I drive an electric vehicle and avoid using plastic. Any other suggestions? You ready to get real sad, Chris?
Chris,
get real sad?
Chris, look at me. Nothing. No, you can't. You're good. I mean, the EV, good for you, I guess. Politically active. Be politically active. That's the only thing there is left to do. It doesn't matter if you drive an EV. If nobody else can afford an EV, they can't take the fucking train to work because there's no train and there's no buses, so they have to drive an old beater. Like it's all about what governments do and how they respond to it. And right now they're like shitting the bed on it big time. And there's nothing that we can do by buying the right thing or not buying something to change that. So like, it's very cool that you are, I mean, I don't have a car, I don't eat meat. So like individual actions are obviously good, but getting politically involved is just the number one thing to do. So like local actions are important. Like look at California and what they're doing to kind of hold the fossil fuel industry to account and decarbonize and all that shit. They are just a state, but that is from people acting locally, you know, from grassroots organizations to get California to do that. And now it's having like global ramifications. So these small things get started on a local level, on a small level, and then they grow into, you know, first it's probably one city, then it's California, then it's the US, then et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I would say getting involved politically, however that looks for you. I don't know where you live, but that's what I do. Even if it's just like emailing your, I don't know, congressman to be like, no new natural gas, natural gas in new buildings is a good example of like a policy that people are trying to pass in cities. So, or stop eating meat. Okay, thank you.
There's something that Hazel does that impresses me very much because I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to admit that I can't do it myself, but Hazel doesn't have an Amazon Prime account. That is nuts to me.
Flex. I definitely order from Amazon, but I just hate shipping, which is very rare. It's just when I need something for like filming.
Nice. $5 from Sapien Haggis. A group of deists should be called an imbuggerance. Love that.
Hey-o.
Love that. Hate the idea
wait. Okay.
We're waiting.
What happened?
Did you not hear that? You couldn't hear my air horn sound effect? That's so fucked up.
We haven't heard it once. Every time you've done it, nothing has happened.
What? How do you not hear it? The noise canceling on this must be really good because it's really loud.
It might not. I don't know.
It's better. Okay. Do the mouth meows from now on.
Okay. Thanks.
Jesus Christ.
Whatever.
What's the next one?
Did you read this one?
Yeah, we just read that one.
Yeah. That's why air horn.
$4.99 from Young Lukey Babe. Oh, what are the names this time, you guys? What are the names? Love the show. Here's a tit of money. Peace and love. Thank you very much for the tit of money. I appreciate that.
Lukey Babe on SoundCloud.
Follow young Lukey Babe.
On SoundCloud, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. $9.99 from poor Claire. Charles, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you're poorer now that you sent the $9.99. Charles, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure you don't use 0.1, 0.2, etc. when you're doing the binary computer thingy. Host, correct me if I'm wrong. There's just 1 or 0, no in between. Jimmy, go Jimmy yourself. Jimmy, go Jimmy yourself. I don't know. Yeah, it's. You can actually listen to one of the people in the Transatlantic is Nominal Naomi. And she is a PhD student studying computer science. And I'm pretty sure she did a whole thing about how binary in computer even, like computer language binary, isn't even as binary as people like to pretend. And that there's actually a little bit of wiggle in there. I have no idea what the fuck she was talking about because like it's Naomi, she knows computer science so fucking well. It sounds like another language when she speaks it. It's crazy. I am so bad at computers. It's wild. I'm like a fucking boomer. I'm like, what is that? Blah, blah. I know how to plug in an HDMI cable. I'm not that bad, but like Jimmy's tried to explain to me. Jimmy's tried to explain to me how my computer works that he built for me like 50 times, and it's got some RAM. I don't know.
It does have RAM. He's right. He's right.
See?
128 gigabytes of it, but that means nothing to him.
Is there a thing I can click that I can show the specs of this computer on the stream? Because it's silly, and every time I show it to somebody, they laugh at it, and I don't know what it means.
They laugh in a good way.
Oh man,
not really, not quickly, not in a way that wouldn't show potentially personal stuff too. But if you wanted, you could run a Nova bunch.
Someone paid $5 to well actually me.
To what?
Somebody paid $5 to well actually me.
A computer screen is not binary. It uses red, green, and blue values between 2. I mean,
I'm talking about the computer code. I don't know.
What?
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Man. I don't know either. It's I think this is more. This is well actually Charles as well, because he was saying that the computer screens are a binary system, and that's all this is. Like it's 3 things with 256 possible values.
But
is
also,
it binary?
well, actually, the instructions to the monitor of which to put up of those options is still communicated through binary.
I guess.
Oh yeah.
Hazel's just sitting there fucking twirling a knife about ready to stab the next person that walks into the room because she's so fucking sick of us.
It's not a knife. It's not a knife. It's just something to twirl.
It's a practice ballad song. One of the ones with the blunt blade that you can just practice twirling it.
It is. I thought I was doing it off screen. Damn. Yeah. It's a practice ballad song.
Nice.
I'm not very good.
I used to carry one of those. I used to carry that was my pocket knife for a long time. Really?
Wait, did you have a real one?
Yeah, that was I always carry a pocket knife with me everywhere, and that I used to have ballad song as my pocket knife, and I would carry it in my back left pocket, and it would just chew its way through my pockets all the time. They're great. It's because the edges were rigid, you know. $5 from the pterodactyl. What is best in life? To crush your enemies, to see them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of their swans. Love that. Oh, and they also put hashtag Hazelcoin. This is another inside joke thing. It was just that to say whoever the host is coin, it was like an insert a coin and then they do a thing. So like just give us a random fact, a random thing that you know is what they're asking for there. A random factoid.
Oh shit. What's a fact I know? Okay. The very first ever movie so correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right. The very first ever movie that was not like a silent film, like it had audio. The first words uttered in said movie were, "You ain't heard nothing yet," the jazz singer. That's my fact. Right. It has nothing to do with climate change. On. I just really like it. You ain't heard nothing yet. Come on, that's so good.
That's pretty good. The fact that they actually hadn't heard nothing yet. $10.
They'd never heard anything. Mm-hmm.
$10 in Dylan Fooler, not fodder. Pardon me. No. I just realized I misspoke. My fave is a shiver of sharks. A fuck of love bugs is pretty on the nose. Also, Hazel, if you enjoy sci-fi, which world would you like to visit based on climate? I'll cheat and say my story's Planet Meyer.
Oh, I love sci-fi, so this is hard. Oh, I don't know. Based on climate, I don't know, like Earth from Star Trek based on climate, but like, I don't know, based on vibes, I would say I really liked the Wayfarer series, Becky Chambers. Everybody, it's just so cool, and all the aliens are so different, and I would like to live there because it would just be a wacky and wild time. Everybody gets along great. Anyway, hey, did you know a gathering of crows is a murder?
There you go. Thanks, Ben Nine Lives.
Wow.
Much appreciated.
I had no idea, me personally.
What? $5 from Real Person. What are the conditions of climate change? Why am I getting a what? Are the conditions of climate change too fluid and novel for good, solid books? Or is there robust, evergreen books on the topic? I didn't understand what they were asking first, and now I get it.
Are they asking for like a novel or just like a textbook?
A book. I think they're asking for like a book recommendation that will help them grasp the issue.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't know. I would say Ministry for the Future, but I feel like it requires you to know way too much about climate change already, but it is a novel. And then it's a good book. Read Ministry for the Future. And then if you want like a book about climate change, shit, I don't know. There's so many. Do you want one on the science? Do you want one on what we can do? I recommended All We Can Save is pretty good. Anything by Naomi Klein is pretty good. Like On Fire is pretty good. Or I can give you some really boring policy books. Yeah. And those aren't evergreen. So never mind. Damn, I should have brought up my reading list before this thing.
Yeah, I usually throw books around whenever people ask. I actually don't have a good recommendation right now because I'm fucking busy.
I haven't
Okay, that's okay. We could just keep moving. We could just not do a Forrest doing 12 minutes on 2 books.
But it would be cool. The people love it. $4.99 from Bobby Jenko. You poor lost soul. I actually do have to finish writing. I'm doing a video about parasites right now, and I haven't finished writing it. And goddamn, I'm behind the 8 ball on it. You poor lost soul. This is good. I like it. Can your science fix your chair? I think not. You need Jesus. All I need is a fucking screwdriver or just to bite the bullet and buy a new chair. I don't know. I refuse. This one's got some armrests I can hang out here. It's real swivelsome, you know?
So real. Why would we bother fixing anything? Jesus is coming anyway, so fuck
this wasn't about a miracle. This is because Jesus was a carpenter.
This is a fallen world, and in a fallen world, we have chairs that are like this.
Yeah, fallen world. Can't fix them. Why bother? Okay.
$10 from GB. Booleans are restricted to a single bit, 0 or 1, whereas binary may be composed of many bits adding up in a place-weighted form to a value of any possible finite outcome or spectrum. Are both right? I don't know what you are asking me at this point. Bring it back. Put it back. Let me see if I can try to decipher it. Maybe I'm misreading it. Sometimes when I read things aloud, I also don't process it the same way. Restricted to a single bit, whereas binary can be composed of many bits adding up in a place-weighted form. Place-weighted form, I understand that, I think, to a value of any possible infinite. So like a series of ones and zeros all adding up to, because they're in a place-weighted form, adding up to a large number. Like you can make the number 256 out of a sequence of zeros and ones in particular places if it's in that base 2 format, right? Is that what I'm getting? I think. are both right. So, but the point is the result. The result is spectral. The things going into it can be binary. The result is spectral. And when we talk about biological sex, the things going into it also aren't binary. So I don't think that it's a good correlation or a good comparison. All that it boils down to is, here's this random thing that there are two of that are kind of involved in biological sex. Therefore, we can call it that. But again, there are people without the two things, or that defy your definition of what the two things mean. And you can't include those in your model and say it's binary. $5 from Emery King. A friend told me all monkeys and apes are scared of water, and I don't believe him, but I haven't looked it up yet. So, Forrest, can you just tell me? No. How would they drink? No, they're not scared of water. There's videos you can look up online of orangutans, like, rafting and like using boats and shit. And like, yeah, they're great at it. And fucking, water's... Yeah, no, water's fine. I like, they don't want to drown for sure, but like, yeah, no, they engage in water and water related activities for sure.
If you see a monkey afraid of water, you should run because it is rabid.
Perhaps.
That's a
yeah. Sorry, I missed the binary question. Oh.
You didn't miss out.
Sorry, Jimmy.
Go
ahead, Jimmy.
Nah, it wasn't that funny.
I had to tell my friend why I was missing improv class.
Yes, is it worth it?
Real reason?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's worth it. So worth it. It'd be this, but with like 20 strangers. So this is better. Okay.
New choice.
$5 in the pterodactyl. If we do nothing, we'll either get Jetty Prime or Arrakis. Do I know what either of them? I know what Arrakis is. Is Jetty Prime a thing? Might I suggest a cloud of climatologists? Nice. There we go. That worked.
Yeah.
New choice.
You have it ready. Hey, Hazel, what do you call a book club that's been stuck on the same book for way too long?
Oh, sorry. It's too early. What do you call it? Wait, what do you call it?
What do you call a book club that's been stuck on a book for way too long? You call it church.
Kind of wish your phone had broken just then. I don't know whether they deserved it.
It just ran out of battery at this moment.
Fallen world.
It's fallen world, y'all.
Thank you for thanking me. All right, next question.
It's $5 from Dylan Fooler. Oh, Jimmy, I don't know if you've seen this piece of art before. You can look up Ghost Clock. Didn't think that said clock for a second. Just look at it and read the description. It's amazing. A fave. Look up Ghost Cock, Jimmy, and read the description.
Is this like a Rickroll?
I feel like it's gonna be.
I'm gonna Google it. No, I'm not gonna.
$5 from Monkey at Typewriter. Two people walk into a bar. The first says, "I'll have H2O." The second one says, "God damn it."
It's autoplay. It autoplays. I'm so sorry. Next time
I'll mute. Close. You were so we were almost at the end of the joke. It's like a second later. The first one says, "I'll have H2O." The second says, "I'll have H2O too." The second one dies.
No, it's not playing.
I think your phone's still turned down. Oh God, Forrest forgot. Thank you so much. Oh my glob. What did Cinderella do when she got to the ball? Gagged.
What? Gagged?
Gagged.
It's a blowjob joke. Please move on.
Oh, I heard
I'm throwing back. Whenever people throw the dad jokes at me, I'm trying to give the dad jokes back.
Perfect.
$5.
Fallen World.
We absolutely do need a Fallen World t-shirt. That'd be fantastic.
Really good. And it was just Jimmy swearing too, so that's the best part. Just put his face on there. Fallen world.
Fallen world.
Oh, that I didn't get the reference. I don't pay attention to the conversations I'm in. Come on, people.
Yeah.
$5 Monkey Typewriter. Where does a mansplainer get his water? Well, actually. And then you put there's your cue for the yeah.
Sorry, but by the way, people are trying to cheat. For the coin thing required at least $10. So I'm gonna let them give you a mini coin, but let's not stay here all night because people are paying for long goddamn rants.
Sharks are older, like the existence of sharks, it's older than trees, and also the rings of Saturn. Sharks have existed longer than the rings of Saturn.
I heard sharks the first time.
Yeah, that
Sharks.
too. Also, in terms of the dad joke, in regards to that, what's worse than ants in your pants? Uncles.
Some of these jokes tonight, man. Some of these are dark. Some of these are dark.
Yeah. Some of these seem like a cry for help.
They're only going to get worse. $5 from I Got Cookies. I know Forrest hates puns. Random fact, I had a taser once. It was stunning. I ain't lying. Nice. Fucking, did you hear that they made a club, like a nightclub, just for people with erectile dysfunction? It was a total flop and nobody came.
Bow. All right. Anyway.
Pow.
I gotta get more dad
$5 from this. I'm full of them. $5 from DH Sephiroth. Forest Coin, please explain all the ways our bodies use water. A PSA for staying hydrated. Thank you. All sorts of things. Water lubricates your joints. It allows for hydrolysis of proteins. So you break down proteins, digest things properly. Your brain literally shrinks when you're dehydrated, so it makes your brain larger. Was that the last one? It makes your brain. Otherwise, you get headaches because it pulls on communicating bridging veins. Hey, final dad joke. Also, do you know the difference between wallpaper and toilet paper?
No, what is it?
Oh, that's gross. Gross that you have to ask.
Everyone, go find Hazel. Hazel's links are in the description. Go find her. She's awesome.
Yeah,
She's
go
one of my faves.
Follow Hazel.
Go find me.
I don't know whether or not
All right,
Forrest
thanks
told
for having
you,
me,
but
guys. That was fun.
I bullied Forrest into inviting you. I don't know if he told you that.
He did. He actually
I'm so
texted me for
glad
days.
You know what? I love to hear it. I'm glad I skipped improv for this, guys.
New choice.
Much better. Oh yeah.
Have you never played New Choice in improv? Have you played it?
What? No. Wait, New Choice?
Yeah, so it's basically like you just said.
I said it was my second day at improv. Today was class 2.
I don't know. I just make stuff up. So New Choice is like somebody says or does something, mostly says, and the director or one of the people who are like part of the team yells New Choice, and you just have to take whatever you just said and basically say something else. So I said it after you're like, I'm really glad I skipped improv for this. So if I had yelled New Choice, the idea would have been you would kind of intuit that they just want you to change the subject. So you'd be like, I'm really glad I skipped, mouse class for this or something.
Mouse
and then
class.
we keep doing new choice until we got to the funniest one.
New choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Oh God.
Oh fucking God, Jesus Christ! What?
You tried to talk. I muted so you could talk.
No, I was just gonna say fucking. What?
Go ahead.
What's the difference? What's the difference between a bouquet of flowers and what's the difference? Jimmy, what's the difference between a bouquet of flowers and anal sex?
Oh, I would have to say it's an unresolved punchline.